What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6 nanoseconds. Chapter 181. As soon as the voice fell, the whole hall fell into silence again, and the three of Crane, Garp, and Sengoku were silent, and they were all buried in thought. In this way, after about a few minutes, Sengoku slowly said, "Don't you have anything to say?" "Say what? If so, when we were young, we could not do anything with him, do you think we could do with him when we were old?" He frowned and said, "Yes, everyone, let's look a little bit. We are all getting old. On Marine's side, let these new age guys handle it," Garp said softly. After all, at this age, he already has enough energy, not enough. Hearing what Crane and Garp said, Sengoku was silent for a few seconds, and then smiled faintly. "That's right, I've been worrying about it for most of my life, and I can't worry about it all the time when I'm old. Maybe our worries are just superfluous. It's hard to be sure whether it's him or not," he continued. After some time, Suyu has successfully reached the Chambord Islands. However, Martin and the others did not plan to stay, because the naval headquarters near the Chambord Islands were very close. They were afraid that they would be served by Marine, so after serving Suyu, they turned around and left. As for the remuneration, originally Suyu wanted to give it to him, but they refused. Suyu did not force them to collect it even if it was so. Chambord Islands, the change is not too big, Suyu murmured. Just as he was about to move on, a pirate ship not far away attracted his attention. This ship is not an ordinary pirate group, but in the original book, the 11 supernovae in the pirate world, the Hawkins pirates. It's a coincidence. Is this the Hawkins ship, one of the supernovae? Suyu murmured, and didn't care too much. However, at this moment, an idea came to his mind, that is, he has to find time to see the fellow Whitebeard first. If you still follow the route of the original, if you don't find a time to meet first, I'm afraid Whitebeard will die. Of course, it is also possible that the emergence of Suyu has already caused the butterfly effect. Ace has not been captured by Marine, or that Ace has not joined the Whitebeard pirates. All in all, after seeing Rayleigh, Suyu can basically figure out the situation behind. However, one thing Suyu didn't expect was that he appeared too early, and the butterfly effect caused was only a small part. What pirate group was that ship just now? A member of the Hawkins pirate group asked other partners aloud. Everyone shook their heads slightly. "I don't know, it's the first time I have seen it. It's definitely not a well-known pirate group. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. That guy seems to be watching us. Isn't he trying to attack us?" Another member continued. "What? Attack us? Seriously? That guy is alone, and the ship's people have already left. Perhaps he may be a hidden powerhouse." As soon as the words came out, another man smiled and retorted, "Come on, what hidden strong? If the strong can meet casually, then Marine will have a hard time." Hawkins on the side did not speak. He took out a pile of cards, and after a simple wash, he began to prepare for divination. "I saw the card glowing purple, and then all scattered and floated in the air." Hawkins calmly drew out one, and after scanning the card, his face suddenly became serious. Then, he drew the cards again, and after a glance, his face looked even more. However, he still drew the cards again, and his face became more ugly as the number of times increased. In the end, he put away the card directly, and then he looked at Suyu. Of course, he just wanted to see what Suyu wanted to do. After dozens of seconds, Hawkins' crew spoke. "Oh, that guy seems to be gone. I thought he was going to trouble us." "I thought too, but, Captain Hawkins, I just saw you fortune-telling. What did you do fortune-telling?" the member on the side asked. As soon as he finished speaking, Hawkins did not shy away from saying, "I did a fortune-telling. If he has a conflict with us, that side will win." How is the result? As soon as the voice fell, everyone on the side looked at Hawkins. "If there is a conflict, we have a 100% chance of annihilation," Hawkins said calmly. As soon as this remark came out, the people on the side were directly dumbfounded. Diaresis no way, 100% destroyed. It's terrible, who the hell is that guy? I don't know, we have to know that Captain Hawkins' bounty is 249 million. He can destroy our group by himself. Isn't his bounty higher? Impossible, I have never heard of this man. I haven't heard of it either. Today is the first time I met. After listening to them, Hawkins continued. Just now, I did divination many times, but the undoubted result is that we are 100% destroyed. The only luck is that the guy is not interested in us. It seems that we have to be careful. The Chambord Islands are really mixed. One of the members said slowly. It is said that there are often celestial dragons events here. We have to be careful about this. After moving celestial dragons, everyone Wang Zhao's knows that Marine Admiral will come over. At that time, we will have no good fruits. As for what Hawkins and the others are thinking at this time, Suyu is indifferent. What he has to do now is to find the guy Rayleigh, ask something, and then have a good chat. After his disappearance, has there been any major event in this world? Category. Then I was looking at the situation, whether I should see the guy Whitebeard first. After all, if we still develop according to the original work, if we don't see it, we won't see it. Chapter 182. However, it is not easy to find someone in the Chambord Islands without knowing the location. After all, the Chambordyan Islands are still very large, consisting of 79 separate regions. Suyu only knows that Rayleigh lives in the Chambordyan Islands, but does not know where he lives. Fortunately, Suyu is not too anxious. If he is lucky, maybe he will meet directly. A long time passed like this quickly, and time erased the lucky thoughts in front of Suyu. Although Rayleigh's whereabouts were not found in the past half-day, he did see another supernova in the original book, Kid. In less than a day, he met the two supernovas in the original book, and he didn't know whether this luck was good or bad. However, the only thing in common is that Suyu was not interested in them. No whereabouts at all. It's really a brain pain. Forget it, let's find a place to have a good meal first. Suyu muttered, and then started looking for a restaurant. However, what was a little surprised was that after looking for a long time, Suyu saw one. It might be a regional relationship. He didn't think much about it, so he walked in. The moment he stepped into the restaurant door, Suyu's eyes fell on a very conspicuous woman. She has long straight pink hair, wearing denim shorts, a white half-sleeved shirt, brown short-heeled boots, and a heart-shaped lipstick. Of course, it is not her appearance that is conspicuous, but her current behavior is too obvious. The eating phase is extremely ugly. Sitting on the table 670, Lao Gao with empty plates and a pair of big long legs, it seems that it is not suitable how to put it. That's right, this woman is not a passerby, but one of the 11 supernovas in the original book, Bonnie. Suyu's face was speechless, which could not be described as ugly and ugly. But, fortunately, it didn't affect him much, so Suyu didn't do any extra moves. She sat down in a place far away from her, ready to enjoy delicious food. There are many ways to find Rayleigh. For example, as long as he meets one of the Straw Hat Pirates, he can quickly find Rayleigh. After a while, the food was served and Suyu also started to move. As it happened, a few minutes later, Hawkins also came with his crew. His eyes were placed on Bonnie for the first time, and then he wanted to find a place far away from Bonnie. However, looking to the other side and seeing Suyu sitting there, his brows frowned. Captain Hawkins, that guy is here too. Hawkins replied blankly. You don't need to say, I can see it. However, this is a bit of a coincidence. Sure enough, God wants you to meet someone you shouldn't meet. I wonder if the heavens deliberately want us to die. Shut up, you just say unlucky things. Captain Hawkins, where are we? Hawkins glanced around, then whispered, you can only sit next to this mad woman. Try not to attract his attention here without attracting their attention. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Okay, understood, Captain Hawkins. About half an hour later, Suyu was full, but when he was about to pay, he was told by the waiter that he had already been paid. I'm going, there is such a kind person in the world. Suyu said in surprise. However, following the instructions of the waiter, Suyu learned that it was not someone he knew who paid him, but Hawkins, one of the supernovae. Yes, during the meal, Hawkins used divination again. In order not to become hostile to Suyu, he acted first to create friendship. This is also his method of divination. Captain Hawkins, that guy is here. One of the men said haltingly, and began to hold his breath. Everyone else looked at Suyu approaching with anxiety. Hawkins is very confident in his divination, so he is not too worried. As soon as Suyu came to Hawkins, Hawkins took the initiative to speak out. I think you have a good relationship with you, so. The corner of Suyu's mouth raised slightly. No matter what your purpose is, it doesn't matter, I have a chance to invite you to drink next time. After all, Suyu just wanted to turn around and leave, there was a bang from the side. A burly man directly knocked out a big hole, flew in, smashed the contents inside, and then fainted to death. The people eating inside fell into chaos in an instant, and at the same time, outside, 4 guards in armor guarded the big hole. Following a fat man with a spear in his hand, he swayed in. When most of the people inside saw the fat man's face clearly, they all knelt down subconsciously. Because this fat man is the nobleman of the world, celestial dragons. Behind, even Bonnie and Hawkins pretended to kneel down after seeing celestial dragons. However, they are not afraid of celestial dragons, but they are afraid that if there is a conflict with celestial dragons, the price of waiting for them is to be pursued by Marine Admiral. However, Suyu doesn't eat this set, so he stands upright, looking at the celestial dragons like a monkey. Hey, this guy is celestial dragons, even if you don't want to kneel, but you do something to deceive celestial dragons' eyes. Yeah, if you are noticed by celestial dragons, if you fight back, Admiral will be attracted. If you are a pirate, you must abide by the rules of a pirate. Hawkins' crew began to discourage Suyu. And Suyu didn't pay attention to them, joking, even though it was pretending to kneel down, but if Suyu could do this, even if 5 elders came, he didn't have the qualification. At the same time, a body twisted in the crowd and grabbed Suyu's foot. It was originally intended to pull him, but Suyu still remained motionless. Suyu cast his gaze slightly, it was Bonnie who was holding her foot. You guy, are you crazy? Bonnie yelled. The corners of Suyu's mouth raised slightly, and then he said, celestial dragons are trash, you are only afraid, but I am not afraid. As soon as Suyu's words fell, the members of the Hawkins pirates and Bonnie's gang directly collapsed. Undoubtedly, in their eyes, Suyu is a madman. Bonnie and the Hawkins crew spoke very quietly, but Suyu's voice just now was almost the same as usual, and Celestial Dragons was not far from Suyu. As long as he is not deaf, he can basically be heard. Celestial Dragons looked at Suyu incredulously after hearing Suyu's words, Celestial Dragons this kind of trash. Let's put Impudent. Celestial dragons trembled angrily, holding a long spear at Suyu, and said angrily, trivial humans. Trivial humans dare to despise the descendants of the Creator, you dare to die. Boom. Celestial dragons pulled the trigger directly, and 2 bullets were ejected directly from the muzzle, flying towards Suyu with a diameter. At this level of attack, Suyu didn't bother to avoid it, and directly transformed into an element, letting the bullet pass through his body. Then he faintly said to Bonnie on the ground, before letting go of your hand, I will take you directly. Hearing the words, Bonnie quickly released her hand holding Suyu's feet. Immediately, Suyu stepped towards Celestial Dragons. What do you want to do? I'm Celestial Dragons, I'm the descendant of the creator of the world, ha ha ha, you don't know what consequences you will have, right? Celestial Dragons said, and couldn't help laughing wantonly. Chapter 183. Brothers, I have half more words in this chapter than others. Others have 1700 and mine are 2500 plus today. The guards standing behind Celestial Dragons, afraid of Suyu's sudden attack, quickly came to the front of Celestial Dragons. Grab him, I will chop off his hands and feet, and then take it to feed my pet, let him know that this is the end of the defiant creator Celestial Dragons. Celestial Dragons stood behind the guard, face somewhat ferocious, the whole body began to shake. Swish. Several guards quickly pointed their spears at Suyu. However, even so, Suyu did not stop. Immediately after, he began to release Conqueror's Haki, a powerful pressure centered on Suyu, quickly spreading in all directions. The few guards in front were stunned, their eyes turned white, and then fell directly to the ground, but Celestial Dragons were still standing. Of course, this is Suyu selectively avoiding him, after all, if he also fainted, wouldn't it be cheap, this kind of straw bag? Hawkins and Bonnie looked around in front of Conqueror's Haki, frowning slightly. Who is this guy? Bonnie thought Suyu was Hawkins and the others, so she asked. I don't know, Hawkins said coldly, isn't he from your side? Bonnie continued. How is it possible? We don't know him, but according to the momentum he just gave out, this guy is definitely not simple. Hawkins' crew responded. That guy, isn't he trying to do something with Celestial Dragons? Bonnie swallowed and asked. Who knows, but according to the situation just now, the chance of him doing something with Celestial Dragons is very high. Hawkins said. Bonnie frowned and realized that it was not good. She stood up while she was in a mess, and said angrily, if this goes on, I believe Admiral is coming soon. You continue to pretend to kneel here, let's slip away. Up. After all, Bonnie ran to the other side to evacuate. Captain Hawkins, what should we do? Are you going to stay here and continue to pretend to kneel? One of the men asked. Or, let's run too. Let me fortune telling for good and bad. There is no need for divination for this kind of thing, right? Okay, let's run, after all, Admiral will be in trouble when he comes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At the same time, Suyu had approached the Celestial Dragons, stared at him, and then said in a deep voice, Descent of the Creator. You guy. Celestial Dragons screamed angrily, and Suyu could clearly see that his saliva was spit on the bubble hood. Thanks to them wearing bubble hoods, if the saliva is sprayed on Suyu's body, it is estimated that Suyu will directly screw off his neck. Do you know what is the most painful? While speaking, Suyu's normal pupil suddenly changed into a 3-hook jade, and as the 3-hook jade turned, he directly advanced to become Mangekyo Sharingan. He immediately launched an illusion technique on Celestial Dragons. Although this illusion technique is not very strong, it is more than enough for a straw bag Celestial Dragons. You will be trapped in purgatory forever, Suyu said, kicking him away, but did not take his life. After all, if you kill him in this way, it will only make him cheaper. Call. Suyu let out a sigh of relief, it's finally quiet. With a murmur, he turned his head back, originally wanting to see Hawkins, but he didn't expect that whether it was Bonnie or Hawkins, he would have run away long ago. Continue to find my people. Suyu stretched out and left the scene of the incident casually. After about 10 minutes, Holy Land Mary Geoise, Sengoku directly threw the cup in his hand to the ground angrily. Assault Celestial Dragons. Who is it? Faced with Sengoku's angry shout, the marine soldier beside him hesitated. No, I don't know. According to the information from the Chambord Islands, it seems that it was not a pirate who attacked Celestial Dragons. Find flowers. Sengoku was startled slightly. It's not a pirate. Who is that? Who can be so bold? Don't they know the end of the attack on Celestial Dragons? However, at the scene, 2 new pirates who offered a reward of over 100 million yuan were discovered, but they did not participate in the attack on Celestial Dragons. The attack on Celestial Dragons is really unprecedented. The Marine continued to report. Sengoku frowned slightly, but indeed, after the new era, there has been no pirate attacking Celestial Dragons. However, if the incident is going back, it is very frequent. Kizaru, who is currently taking over the position of Admiral of Headquarters, is calmly drinking tea. 0. Anyway, if you take a shot against the Celestial Dragons of the world's nobles, it won't work for us Admiral not to move, Mr. Sengoku. Kizaru asked. Sengoku turned his gaze to Kizaru. What do you think? Kizaru sighed helplessly, and then said helplessly, well, I understand, I'll be dispatched, I'll be back soon. After that, Kizaru slowly got up, stepped out of the hall, and then hurried to the Chambord Islands where the incident occurred. Call. Sengoku sighed heavily, then sat on the chair and said, "Really, there will always be a bunch of lunatics at any time. Marshal Sengoku, there is Admiral's job, this matter can be solved 100%, so you should not worry about it. You pay close attention to the news in the Chambord Islands, and report to me if there is any progress. I want to see if it is the lunatic who is doing the trouble again." To Understanding. Chapter 184. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. At the same time, the Chambord Islands. Several men from the world government, wearing black suits, carried the celestial dragons who had been beaten by Suyu, and rushed for treatment. "He's not life-threatening," the man in black suit asked the doctor on the side aloud. "The leg bones are broken, which is considered serious, and it may have a great impact on his future." The doctor replied. "There is no risk of life, right? That's not enough. It's just that they never thought that this celestial dragons was about to enjoy, and torture more painful than death." Call. Several men in black suits breathed a sigh of relief. Although they said that celestial dragons were attacked, they would definitely be punished, but if celestial dragons died, they might not survive. On the other side, Kizaru also quickly reached the Chambord Islands, and after getting some useful information on the scene, he quickly left. On the contrary, the other pirates in the Chambordian Islands directly exploded, especially the Supernovas with more than 100 million yuan. After all, they all understand the truth that there is a tall man when the sky is falling. To put it bluntly, you newcomers with over 100 million yuan, although you did not participate in the attack on celestial dragons. But don't think that this matter has nothing to do with you. Anyway, as long as you are pirates, it has something to do with you. Flame Tank Pirates. The first time I learned that Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru had come to Chambord Islands, Beige, one of the 11 supernovas, was blown up. Beige, Paramesha Devil Fruit, the fruit of the strong city. You can station everything, including yourself, in your body. Just like a castle, the objects that enter Beige's body will all become smaller, and will change after leaving Beige's ability range. Restore. A-hole, it's the madman who was so stupid to attack celestial dragons. Beige yelled at him as he evacuated. The Godfather is right. He's just a lunatic. Now it's fine. I stabbed a hornet's nest, and all the pirates of the Chambord Islands will be implicated. Beige's crew said in agreement. Damn, don't let me know who it is. If I know it, I will never spare him. Beige angrily said. At the same time, another member of Beige's crew ran from the front and said in a panic. Godfather, not this way. Our people saw Kizaru go this way. Hearing this, Beige didn't hesitate too much, and evacuated directly to the side. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Of course, but Beige is not the only one who knows that the billions of newcomers in the Chambord Islands soon received news from Admiral Kizaru. Their reaction is undoubtedly the same as that of Beige, hiding while yelling at Suyu who attacked celestial dragons. However, as for Suyu, it seems that playing celestial dragons is a normal thing. I've forgotten everything when I look back, and I'm concentrating on searching for Rayleigh's whereabouts. Probably dozens of minutes have passed. A voice rang in the air and reached Suyu's ears on the ground. Black hair, tall figure, white shoes, tut-tut. At the same time, Suyu heard the reputation, and Kizaru also fell on the ground not far from Suyu. You were the guy who attacked celestial dragons. Kizaru continued. Suyu was also a little surprised when Kizaru suddenly appeared, but remembering that he had just played celestial dragons, it made sense. However, in other words, although Kizaru looks lazy, he is still very dedicated sometimes. What are you talking about? Suyu said without changing his face. Hey, did I recognize the wrong person? Kizaru pretended to be shocked. I think you should admit the wrong person. Kizaru slowly raised his fingers, and suddenly the corners of his mouth raised slightly, with a smile. I lied to you. After that, his fingers flashed with a golden light suddenly, and he shot directly at Suyu. Suyu didn't dodge, but saw that he also stretched out his fingers, and the blue thunder and lightning flashed on his fingers. Thunder gun. As the voice fell, with a bang, a huge thunder and lightning shot directly from Suyu's hands, approaching the golden light that Kizaru shot over. Soon, the two golden rays of light directly collided in midair. Boom. There was a loud noise. It directly triggered a large-scale explosion, and suddenly a strong air current was generated around it. However, because of this blow, the lazy look on Kizaru's face disappeared, because with this blow alone, he had guessed it. The young man in front of him is definitely not as simple as he thought before. It is very likely that he has run into a nail. This guy shouldn't be a pirate. What's his background? This thought subconsciously emerged in Kizaru's mind. Well, I was discovered, and I confessed it generously. I really did the celestial dragon's straw bag. Suyu said calmly. Who are you? Pirate. Revolutionary Army. Suyu smiled. I'm just a passerby. Kizaru was slightly startled, because he always felt that Suyu seemed to have seen him somewhere, but he couldn't remember it for a while. Have we met somewhere? Have you seen? Suyu sneered and continued. Perhaps. But it is true that Kizaru was already in his tens at the time when Suyu was in, and he still knows a lot about some things about 3.6 on the sea. He had only seen Suyu's appearance on the wanted order back then, and did not meet him in reality. Besides, after Suyu disappeared, within a year, the world government took tough measures. Directly erased Suyu's name in history, as well as Lox's. Now, After so many years, Kizaru still has some impressions that are enough to show how big the impression Suyu gave him in that era. Chapter 185. Kizaru was silent for dozens of seconds, and even after racking his brains, he still couldn't remember where he had seen Suyu. However, unable to remember, Kizaru simply didn't bother to think about it, and said with a smile to Suyu, "Forget it, these are not important. The important thing is that if you attack celestial dragons, I have to take action to sanction you." Hearing this, Suyu grinned and sneered. "If you have the ability, you can give it a try." Kick at the speed of light. Kizaru's ability is Logia Sparkling Fruit ability. Also known as the Flash Person, can turn any part of the body into light, and at the same time have the speed of light. It can attack and move at the speed of light. The speed of light can be used to make a heavy blow. The body can emit a strong flash of light, which can cause temporary blindness of the enemy. It can also compress light particles and emit laser light. Moreover, the emitted laser can produce a large-scale explosion. Because it is light, it can float and stay in the air. As Kizaru's voice fell, his right foot turned into a golden light and kicked towards Suyu. 12. However, Suyu didn't make any big moves. He directly covered armament Haki with his left hand and directly resisted. Boom. Kizaru's light speed kick hit Suyu's hand directly, and an impact airflow spread directly away. Suyu moved a little to the side, and the ground cracked in a crack in the shape of a spider web. "Sure enough, you guys are outrageous," Kizaru said subconsciously. However, it is true that most opponents encountered in the past can basically kick people into the air with a kick at the speed of light. This time Kizaru also increased his strength, but Suyu was just a move. Suyu ignored Kizaru, but raised the corner of his mouth slightly, then slowly raised his hand, turning it into a pistol posture, and aimed it at Kizaru. Thunder Speed Finger Pistol. As soon as Suyu's words fell, Kizaru quickly turned himself into a golden light. Boom. A bolt of thunder and lightning traversed directly through the golden light. The next second, Kizaru floated directly in the air, muttering, "I was almost hit." Hawkins was escaping here, but when he saw Kizaru and Suyu fighting, he hid directly in a room far away. "Captain Hawkins, shall we not run?" "That person is Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru," one of the crew members asked. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Hawkins looked out the window, then shook his head. "No need, hiding here. Kizaru should not be able to find us, not to mention, he has now found the murderer who attacked celestial dragons. That kid is really unlucky. He even met Kizaru. This time I am afraid it is too bad." Another man also said. "Hey, it's a pity that such a young kid can't think about it so much and do something to celestial dragons." "Don't say it. Thanks to him, now the pirates in the entire Chambord Islands are nervous and afraid of being caught by Kizaru." For their discussion, Hawkins did not pay attention, but took out a stack of cards, and after a simple shuffle, the cards glowed purple. Then, the light floated directly in the air. Hawkins took one, glanced around, and said in a little astonishment, "I'm afraid you all guessed wrong. I did a fortune telling. The probability that he can survive Kizaru's hands is 100%. 100%. I'll go, the odds are a bit high, right? Could it be that his strength is close to that of Kizaru? If that's the case, I'm more and more curious about who this guy is. Impossible, his strength is close to that of Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru. Look at their battle, it seems that neither side has the disadvantage." Hearing what his crew said, Hawkins was taken aback. Yes, what he just foretold was whether Suyu could escape from Kizaru. But now, he saw the current situation, and he felt that he could do a divination in reverse. After that, Hawkins immediately started to take action and drew a card again. After scanning his eyes, his pupils shrank sharply, and after that, all the cards fell to the ground. "Captain Huo, Hawkins, what's wrong with you?" The crew on the side saw the movement and asked aloud in confusion. "Could it be that, fortune telling something that is not good for us?" Another crew member continued. Hawkins did not answer. Instead, he cleaned up the cards on the ground, and after slowing down, calmly said, "Kizaru has a 100% chance of defeat." What? As soon as Hawkins said that, all Hawkins' crew members were stunned, with an unbelievable appearance. No. No way. Marine Admiral has a 100% chance of defeat. What kind of monster is that guy? If he can really defeat Kizaru, in this way, he attacked celestial dragons not because of ignorance, but because he didn't put the world government in his eyes. A few minutes later, at 673, Kizaru was a little confused. Yes, Suyu's ability directly refreshed his 3 views. "You guy, what kind of monster is it that has 3 devil fruit abilities, and can even fly like me?" Kizaru stared at Suyu and asked in surprise. "Monster. Ha ha ha, that's just your ignorance of power, but there is one thing to say, Admiral of Headquarters is still a bit tricky, but it doesn't get in the way. Next, I'm going to be serious." Suyu sneered and said, "I don't know why, Kizaru always feels a bit cold behind his back, because Suyu's fighting method is too weird. As long as one is not careful, he will be hit directly." At the same time, a pair of horns grew directly on Suyu's forehead. Following Kizaru, you can clearly feel that Suyu's aura is directly different. "You guy, what kind of monster are you?" Chapter 186. Suyu's aura is now completely different from just now. In an instant, Suyu came directly in front of Kizaru, and the speed was even faster than himself. His pupils shrank violently, and his body was involuntarily defending. Boom. Suyu swept directly in the air. Kizaru flew upside down in an instant, and then hit a house. Boom. The house couldn't stand the impact, and it collapsed. Thick white eyes rose up like a mushroom, and then spread out at an extremely fast speed. Suddenly, at this moment, a voice came directly from the center of the smoke and dust. Bakichong Guyu. As the voice fell, a dazzling light bloomed in the center of the smoke and dust, followed by countless light bullets directly through the smoke and flew towards Suyu. Boom. Boom. What followed was a huge explosion, large and small rocks flying in all directions mixed with air currents. After the explosion ceased, the thick smoke and dust around began to gradually become thinner, and a blue light was looming in the smoke and dust. Could it be that such an attack has no effect on him? Kizaru said in surprise. Boom. In the smoke and dust, accompanied by a wave of blue light, the surrounding smoke and dust scattered directly. Immediately afterwards, a blue skeleton arm appeared in the sight of everyone. Yes, this is the exclusive Susanoo of the Uchiha clan. Just now, Suyu used this Susanoo, and then added armament haki to directly defend Kizaru's 8-foot jade. In the distant window, Hawkins and the others were watching the duel ahead. At first, when they saw the several abilities shown by Suyu, they were already astonished. Now a skeleton arm appeared directly, and they were dumbfounded. By the way, is that guy really human? The Hawk's crew slapped his mouth, swallowed his saliva, and said with restraint and calmness. If you are dissatisfied, this question is really difficult to answer. Anyway, my hunch is that that guy is not a human at all. Otherwise, how could a person have so many devil fruit abilities at the same time? I think so too. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes today, even if Captain Hawkins told me personally, I would not believe it. Yes, it completely subverted our eyes on this world for many years. Who is this guy? I didn't see him in the pirate bounty, nor did the Revolutionary Army. It's also not Marine. Could it be a civilian master? Well, it's very possible. It's terrible. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kizaru muttered. His face was a little ugly. He didn't know whether it was a joke or the truth. After all, it is difficult to judge a person like him. However, as for whether it is ridicule or truth, Suyu doesn't care. Since Sharingan from Uchiha Madara, he has not used Sharingan's abilities. You can just test it now. At this moment, the skeleton arm was covered with meridians and flesh and blood, and then it was wrapped in a coat like chakra. Obviously, this is the second stage of Susanoo, with the upper half of the body. However, even half of the body is huge. The Guyu of Yasaka. As Suyu's voice fell, a huge goblin-shaped energy body shot out from Susanoo's body, rushing towards Kizaru at an extremely fast speed. On the other hand, Kizaru dodges quickly. Like this kind of thing, it doesn't seem to be too powerful, but Kizaru doesn't dare to take it rashly. After all, he really knows too little about Suyu. If he hadn't met him today, he couldn't believe that there should be such a person in this world. Suyu's attack continued for a while. Kizaru already felt very tricky, and he knew clearly that if he continued to fight like this, the situation would be very bad. Therefore, Kizaru decided to change directly from defense to offense. He turned directly into a light particle, and in the next second, he appeared directly behind Susanoo. Let's learn about the speed of light kick again. Kizaru muttered. His right leg quickly turned into a golden light, followed by a heavy kick. Boom. Accompanied by the sound of the impact, a strong airflow was generated, which impacted and spread the surrounding smoke and dust. When the smoke cleared, Kizaru frowned again, because Susanoo had nothing to do. Hey, what the hell is this? It doesn't work at all. Kizaru cursed. Susanoo held the great sword and slashed directly at Kizaru. Kizaru dodged again. After dodge, he attacked again. His speed was much faster than Susanoo's speed, so in just a few minutes, Susanoo had eaten many of his light speed kicks. After about dozens of minutes later, Suyu was a little surprised, because Susanoo consumed far more than his budget. Moreover, Suyu can clearly feel that if she uses Sharingan's abilities frequently, it is estimated that within a few years, the chance of blindness is very high. It seems that when this ability has to be advanced to become the eternal Mangekyo, it will be used again. Suyu muttered. Boom. At the same time, Kizaru successfully broke Susanoo's defense, and instantly came to Suyu's face, which was another light speed kick. Boom. With the huge impact, Suyu left Susao, but when using superpowers, he basically grasped the balance instantly, and then floated in midair. Quote. Diaresis. Well, this is the end of the test. I'm going to be in a hurry next. Suyu said in a deep voice, following his hands together. In the next second, bright red lines were directly covered around his eyes. Yes, this is the sage mode inherited from Senju Hashirama. Kizaru hadn't been proud for a few seconds, and his face suddenly became ugly again. Here again, this guy, this time, I can clearly feel that his strength has improved a lot. As soon as the voice fell, I saw lightning flashing on Suyu's body, and in the next second, he was directly behind Kizaru. So fast. This speed has completely surpassed me. Kizaru Yuguang wanted to look back at the same time, he wanted to use elementalization to dodge. However, it is a pity that his movements were slow, and the elementalization had not been used, and he was directly hit by lightning bolt. Boom. Above the air, a huge white smoke came out directly, and after that, Kizaru fell directly from above the air. Suyu didn't give him time to react. He slowly raised his hand and a huge blue fireball fell. Boom. Accompanied by Wang Zhaohao, there was a loud noise, and the surrounding was directly swallowed by flames. While the flames spread, Kizaru actually evacuated, but, unfortunately, he was seen by Suyu. Suyu arrived in front of him in an instant, then grabbed his head with one hand and pressed it directly on the ground. Boom. The ground sank directly, and countless cracks opened instantly. However, with this blow, a wanted order of more than 2 billion yuan flashed through his mind. Yes, this is the moment Kizaru finally remembered. The man standing in front of him is the captain of the pirate giant of the old era. Super Dimension Pirate Group, Suyu. Chapter 187. Puff. A large mouthful of blood was spit out directly from Kizaru's mouth. Suyu quickly floated while spraying blood, lest Kizaru spit out blood and stain his clothes. Seeing Kizaru lying motionless on the ground, Suyu gave up the attack. He has to take advantage of this time to drive away. After all, for him, the most important thing now is not to engage in a world government, but to find his crew first. If I continue to stay here, maybe the other 2 Marine Admiral will also rush over, and things will become troublesome. After making the decision, Suyu's figure quickly disappeared from the scene of the incident. Hawkins and the group in the distance were completely stunned. That guy, really defeated Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru. That guy's strength is terrible. It's Kizaru, it's one of the highest combat strengths in Naval Headquarters. That's right, I didn't expect this to be defeated. Thanks to Captain Hawkins' fortune-telling, otherwise, when I was on the shore, I would have to deal with this guy 673 who was staring at us. Call. Hawkins also sighed heavily, and then slowly said, I didn't expect that it would be such a result, even Admiral of Headquarters lost. Captain Hawkins, what shall we do next? One of the crew asked. Let's go. Leave this place of right and wrong. The Marine guys from the province come over to make trouble for us. Hawkins said calmly. At the same time, in the big pit, Kizaru suddenly opened his eyes. It's really scary. I didn't expect to meet that guy in a place like this. Having said that, Kizaru slowly got up, patted the dust on his body, then swallowed and continued. If you continue to fight, maybe that guy will really kill him. After about tens of minutes, Kizaru first told Sengoku the news of Suyu's appearance, and then after a lot of confirmation, Sengoku finally reported it to 5 elders. Of course, there are still 3 remaining. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Inside the hall, a certain gray-haired man suddenly stood up with an expression of excitement. What are you talking about? The guy who has disappeared for most of his life has appeared. Ha ha ha, that guy appeared in time, shouldn't he? He rushed over to Roger's son, right? Another old man continued. Huh, one of the men exhaled heavily, and then said coldly, the probability of this is still very high, after all, he just selected this time period to appear. Sengoku, can you be sure of his appearance? The old man who spoke earlier asked Sengoku. Sengoku nodded. Yes, Kizaru played against him. According to Kizaru, that guy is still as young as he was before. If I remember correctly, that guy is called Suyu. Yes, Sengoku nodded. For so many years, mentioning this name, I can always remember the last time they attacked the Holy Land Mary Geois. The middle old man said softly. Yes, if it hadn't been for that time, their 5 elders would not have become the 3 elder stars they are today. Don't mention, that guy shouldn't live in the world, he should disappear from history forever like the guy Locks. Why did he appear? The old man next to him was obviously emotionally fluctuating. After all, also, Suyu appeared. When will the Holy Land Mary Geois be attacked again? This is a matter of uncertainty. That guy Kizaru is okay. It's okay, I barely escaped, but if we continue to fight, according to Kizaru, it will be more fortunate. Sengoku explained. The 3 elders held their foreheads and plunged into contemplation. Yes, they had to figure out a great way to balance the current maritime forces. Chambord Islands. 2 reporters with cameras were shooting at the scene of the incident, while inquiring about the conditions of the people around the person. After collecting some information, the assistant spoke. Boss, this time we are firmly on the headlines. One of Naval Headquarters 3 Admiral, Kizaru was defeated by a mysterious man. As soon as the voice fell, the man had to nod his head. Yes, I said that the Chambord Islands will definitely get news that shocked the whole world. I got it today. It was a surprise. Originally, we just wanted to see if we could get the news of those over 100 million newcomers and pirates. Unexpectedly, we encountered something more interesting. The assistant smiled from ear to ear. Okay, let's not say much, let's go back, and tomorrow. Tomorrow I want everyone in the world to know what happened in the Chambord Islands today. The only thing that's a bit pity is that there is no picture of that mysterious man. The 2 of them just wanted to leave, when suddenly, a group of men in black suits came over. Hello, we are from the world government. Please come with us. Some of our people need to discuss with you, said the man in the black suit. For this situation, the reporter is not surprised. After all, if today's news is released, it will definitely have a certain impact on the world government. And what they said about negotiation is undoubtedly giving you money to make you a piece of news. Who do you think I am? The man directly rejected the people of the world government without any hesitation. If you think about it clearly, the world government won't care about messing things up. The man in the black suit exhorted. What we are pursuing is the truth. I advise you to stop messing around. We are specialized in sending news, the man reminded him. Then step away. The men in black suits witnessed their figures, but did not chase them. Chapter 188. Soon, the time arrived the next day. As the reporter expected, his news directly shocked the whole world. New world, a certain sea area. The Whitebeard pirates. Father, Big news. Marco, holding a newspaper in his hand, staggered to Beard's side. Whitebeard glanced slightly at Marco, then continued drinking, smashing his mouth. Is it news about IC? Marco shook his head and immediately explained. Admiral of Headquarters, yesterday was defeated by a mysterious man in the Chambord Islands. What? Whitebeard was a little surprised. He originally thought it would be news from Ace, but who knew that not only was it not, but Admiral of Headquarters was defeated by a mysterious man. Who is the mysterious man? Whitebeard asked with interest. Who can defeat Admiral of Headquarters? The strength will naturally not be weak. Marco took a close look at the newspaper, but in the entire article, there was no mention of who this so-called mysterious man was, and there was no portrait of this mysterious man. Immediately, Marco shook his head and slowly said, Father, he didn't say who it was on this newspaper, and there was no photo printed on it. Clatter. Whitebeard put the big bowl in his hand on the deck of the ship and wiped his mouth. Mysterious man. You are really brave enough to fight Kizaru guy, and the key is to win. That guy is not easy. Whitebeard said, shook his head slightly, and then continued to drink. Naval Headquarters. Akainu dangling a cigarette, staring sharply at the newspaper in his hand, and then cursed and said, it's really shameful. As one of Marine's 3 most powerful admirals, he was unexpectedly caught by someone who didn't know where he came from. The guy was defeated. As soon as the voice fell, there was a grunting sound, and the hot lava directly swallowed the newspaper in Akainu's hand. Immediately afterwards, Akainu cast his gaze on the Marine soldier who delivered the newspaper and asked, have you found the mysterious person? The Marine soldier shook his head, and then said cautiously, No, since yesterday he fought with Kizaru Admiral, it seems to have evaporated and disappeared, and the Chambord Islands have increased their patrols. Couldn't it be for the Ace guy? Akainu guessed. I think it's unlikely. No matter what, it's safer to be careful. This time, there must be no mistakes in the execution. Akainu said coldly. To understanding. Go down. Yes. As soon as the voice fell, the Marine soldiers left slowly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Akainu took a deep breath of cigarette, and then slowly exhaled it. As that mysterious guy in the newspaper 4 emperors. Akainu murmured, but finally picked up the phone worm and prepared to contact Sengoku to ask about the situation. Of course, if as usual, he would have known the situation, and he has been busy dealing with Ace's affairs for a period of time recently, so he has been a little negligent about other things. At the same time, Suyu's task of finding Rayleigh was more difficult than he expected. He only remembered that Rayleigh lived in a woman's shop called Shaw, and there were no more. After a morning of inquiries, Suyu finally asked the location of the woman named Shaw who lived with Rayleigh from a group of pirates. After spending nearly half an hour, Suyu finally arrived at his destination. Shaw Cheese Rip-Off Bar. Suyu stared at the name of the store, and then said in a low voice. It can't be wrong, it's this shop. The guy Rayleigh lives here under normal circumstances. Right. The pirate next to him whispered. By the way, what I'm looking for is Shaw Cheese store. Suyu said lightly. That, brother, I won't go in with you. I still owe her money. If you go in, you will definitely have to be beaten more or less. The pirate continued to whisper, for fear of being in the shop. Shachi heard it. Suyu smiled. It doesn't matter, I just go in by myself. Brother, I advise you, you can eat and drink if you have money. If you don't have money, you can't afford this woman. The pirate said, turned around and left. Suyu just smiled and didn't say anything. Immediately afterwards, Suyu walked to the door and gently pushed it away. Find flowers. The woman sitting on the bar slowly raised her head, and said subconsciously, welcome, what can I do? Suyu slowly approached, and said aloud, well, give me the best bar in your shop. This shop is the best. Okay, wait a moment. Shachi responded, and then she started to get busy. Of course, Shachi may have known Suyu when she was young, but after so many years, and Suyu has not changed at all, it would be strange if she could recognize it immediately. Even if Rayleigh stood here suddenly, if Suyu hadn't mentioned it, he might not have recognized it. However, Suyu doesn't care if Shachi knows this. It is not Shachi that he wants to see, but Rayleigh. As Rayleigh here, Suyu, who was sitting on the table, suddenly asked again. Rayleigh. Hearing these 2 words, Shachi stopped the movement in her hand, then set her eyes on Suyu's body and continued. Are you looking for him to coat? Suyu shook his head. No, I haven't seen him for many years, I just want to find him a drink and then ask something. That's really a shame. He hasn't returned for a while, but he should still be in the Chambord Islands. Shachi said, and continued to get busy. It's okay, I will wait until he comes back. Suyu calmly said. Look at how young you are, how come you have something to do with the guy Rayleigh? Is he your benefactor? Shachi asked. Of course she wouldn't think of Suyu as Rayleigh's benefactor, because in her eyes, she couldn't imagine that Rayleigh would be rescued by such a young person. Let's be friends, we met many years ago. Suyu answered. Tatata. Shachi came over with the wine and put it on the table. It turned out to be Rayleigh's friend. That is my friend, how many drinks shall I have with you? Shachi said with a smile. Chapter 189. Suyu was silent for a few seconds, then nodded slightly. Yes, during this period of time, I was very bored. Soon, the two began to drink guts. Suddenly, Shachi asked, I'm a little curious, how did you meet Rayleigh? If I remember correctly, Rayleigh rarely leaves the Chambord Islands. How did you meet Rayleigh? Suyu groped his chin, thought for a few seconds, and then said, back then, we had a good relationship with Roger and the others. They drank a few times, met a few times, and cooperated once or twice. I'm familiar with it. Then, Shakky was stunned, because the amount of information was a bit large. Roger had been dead for more than 20 years, and Suyu seemed to be only in his 20s. Obviously, in Shakky's mind, he immediately came up with an answer. Suyu said nonsense. Come on, you guy, tell a lie, just come and return Roger. Shakky teased. Ha ha ha. Hearing that, Suyu just smiled and didn't explain too much. After all, he didn't bother to explain. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter at all. Picking up a large glass of wine and taking a gulp, Suyu said with emotion, oh, it's been a long time since I had such a good drink. By the way, my name is Shakky, what is your name? Shakky changed the subject and asked. Suyu. After a brief answer, Suyu continued to drink. Suyu. Hearing these two words, Shakky seemed to think of something, and stared at Suyu carefully to observe. As for Suyu, she didn't care, she continued to drink her own wine and praised the wine in Shakky's shop from time to time. Shakky's face became a little stiff, she hurriedly got up, and then began to look for what she was looking for. After about 10 minutes, she finally found a crumpled wanted warrant in a cabinet that had not been turned over for a long time. Moreover, the wanted order was covered with dust, and the bounty and the name part had been bitten by bugs, leaving only half-cut photos. The person in this photo is not someone else, but Suyu. But I didn't expect that Shakky still had a wanted warrant from so many years ago. To be honest, even if Shakky saw the wanted order, she was still a little unbelievable. She repeatedly looked at the photos on the wanted order, and then looked at Suyu who was drinking. No matter how you look at it, the photo is the same person as me. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Your name is Suyu. Shakky walked in front of Suyu again. Suyu glanced at her and said lightly, there is no need to lie to you. Once the captain of the Super Dimension pirate group, Suyu. Okay. When Shakky heard this, she touched her heart for a moment. After dozens of seconds, she said, it's really incredible. After so many years, your appearance is still the same as before, and Rayleigh. He is already a gray-haired old man. Many years ago, I often heard Rayleigh mention you. I can see a lot of regrets in his eyes. Every time he mentions it, although he will have a smile on his face, I can hear a lot of regrets inside. Quote. Call. Suyu sighed slightly. In their eyes, it was many years, but in Suyu's eyes, it was only a while. What happened back then? I don't think it can be said clearly in a few words. Suyu said lightly. Yes. Shakky smiled emotionally. It is estimated that your appearance will give Rayleigh a big surprise, but as for when Rayleigh will come back, it is really hard to say. It's okay, I'll wait for him. In this way, Suyu used his wood style to build a wooden house directly around Shakky and stayed temporarily. Almost a week has passed, and no trace of Rayleigh has been found so far. However, as for the position of his crew, Suyu learned several from Shakky. However, Suyu did not leave. He wanted to meet Rayleigh. Of course, he also made a decision in his heart. If Rayleigh does not appear for a month, Suyu will leave. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen 70%, Rem 70%, Hashirama 80%, Wuluki 70%, Jiraiya 70%, Tornado 70%, Wang Yi 65%, Denisha 65%, Kongna 65%, Uchiha Madara 70%. Summoning character inheritance. Kaido Aizen, Ghost Blood Race Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Roll, Mangekyo 425 500ths Madara. Summoning value. 10,250 thousandths. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Underfire 1900 2000 Thor 1036 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate 1999 2000 Observation Hockey 1999 2000 Conquerors Hockey 1258 2000 Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members 10/12ths. Glancing at his attribute panel, Suyu said, Mangekyo will be able to advance soon, alas, find time to learn more about the running in. The 8th day, Xiaoba, and some members of the Straw Hat Pirates group slowly approached Shakky's shop. It hasn't been here for 10 years. A small wooden house has been built near here. Xiaoba looked at the wooden house in surprise. I don't know why, how can I look at the shop and feel that I will be killed when I go in? 3.6 inches. Xiaoba, the craftsman you mentioned is not a bad guy, right? Chopper asked with some worry. Don't worry, they are all good people. Xiaoba explained, and then opened the door. Rayleigh, Shakky. Pushing the door open, Shakky and Suyu were drinking and chatting. After the door was pushed open, Suyu and Shakky cast their gazes. Obviously, Suyu recognized it at a glance. Also, as a traverser, how unfamiliar with the original protagonist of the pirate group, I don't know, that is strange. Chapter 190. As for Shakky, after a moment of stunned, she also recognized Xiaoba, and then said with a smile, Shakky. Why are you here? Long time no see. Xiaoba also smiled slightly. Yeah, Shakky, it's been a long time since I saw it. By all accounts, it's been more than 10 years. Yeah, Shakky said, and then said to Suyu on the side. Well, I'm a guest, you can drink it yourself. Suyu smiled slightly. It's okay, go ahead. Soon, under Shakky's reception, they began to chat, while Luffy's stunned green started to open the refrigerator by himself, looking for food and eating. You belong to Monkey's group? Shakky asked suddenly. As the words fell, Luffy stuffed food into his mouth and said vaguely, do you know me? Of course, you are the subject of the conversation now, I'm talking about it, I'm an informant. Shakky said proudly. That, Shakky. Xiaoba was really about to say something while sitting on the sofa. Shakky intervened. You don't have to say 12, I understand that the purpose of your coming here is to lead the little monkey. He needs Rayleigh to coat his boat. Shakky said lightly. Xiaoba nodded. Shakky smiled. It's a pity, Rayleigh is not here now. Now, did you see that drinker? He also came to Rayleigh. He has been waiting here for a week. What? Hearing this, Luffy uttered a little surprised. However, just after the voice fell, there was a click. The door was pushed open. A man with white hair, white beard, and glasses walked in slowly, followed closely, and stopped for a moment. This person is not a guest, but the person Suyu and Luffy are looking for, Rayleigh, the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates. The second Shakky saw Rayleigh, the corners of her mouth rose slightly and she laughed. Little monkey, you guys are really timely, now, Rayleigh is back. Rayleigh, Luffy everyone was startled, and followed. Of course, Suyu, who was drinking, was a little surprised after hearing Rayleigh came back. He remembered that in the original book, Rayleigh didn't come back so early. However, what Suyu didn't know was that because of his previous fight with Kizaru, the auction site had changed directly, so Rayleigh ran back early. The moment Rayleigh saw Luffy, he was slightly shocked. The next second, he smiled and said, I wanted to see you a long time ago, Monkey D. Luffy, read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Luffy looked dumbfounded. Want to see me? What do you mean? Just as Rayleigh wanted to answer, suddenly, the smile on his face disappeared. A figure instantly arrived in front of Rayleigh, facing such a fast speed, really, Rayleigh was also taken aback. Boom. Accompanied by Suyu's punch, Rayleigh flew upside down, knocking the door out of a big hole. Faced with this sudden scene, Luffy and his party were stunned and a little at a loss. Grandpa Rayleigh, Luffy shouted loudly, then cast his gaze on Suyu's back and asked, what are you guys doing? Shut up, little monkey. Shakky directly reminded her behind her. But, Auntie, Grandpa Rayleigh, don't worry, don't look at Rayleigh's age, but his skills are hundreds of times stronger than you. As for the person in front of you, he is Rayleigh's friend. They haven't seen each other for many years. Maybe this is their special meeting ceremony. Shakky asked. Oh, Luffy nodded, this meeting ceremony is really strange. Ta-ta. The crisp footsteps echoed in this small shop, and Suyu walked out slowly. Rayleigh stood not far away, pushed his glasses crooked by the impact, and stared at Suyu. How about you guy? Before he finished speaking, Suyu rushed up again, armament hockey covered his hands, and then quickly attacked. And Rayleigh naturally covered armament hockey on his hands, and then attacked. Boom. When the two fists collided, the surrounding ground was directly shattered, and a powerful air current swept the surrounding area. So strong. Chopper stared at Suyu and Rayleigh, his expression a little dignified. I really didn't expect Grandpa Rayleigh to be so old, but his strength is so strong. Luffy also said from the side. Of course, you newcomers really don't know anything, Rayleigh, who was the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates back then. Shakky said with a smile on the side. R.O., the deputy captain of the Roger Pirates. As soon as Shakky said this, it was obvious that Luffy was stunned. Of course. Grumbling. Luffy was shocked. Roger. I've heard it before. Brook continued. However, that young man is so strong, it seems, he still has the upper hand with Rayleigh. Guy Mi also said. As soon as the voice fell 677, Shakky laughed. You don't know, I tell you that the identity of that young man is not simple. Shakky said with a smile. Could it be that he was also on the boat of the Roger Pirates? Luffy asked. Shakky shook her head. No, he is not a young man, if I guess correctly, he is about the same age as Rayleigh, he is a pirate in the Roger era. What? As soon as Shakky said this, Luffy and the others were shocked. Why he looks so young? Yeah, if you don't say it, I thought I was only in my 20s. Is this still a human? Rayleigh has become an old man, and he is still young. It's unbelievable. Brook sighed. What's unbelievable about this? Look at you, a white bone can talk, that's incredible. Shakky laughed and teased. Chapter 191. Brook heard the words and thought about it carefully. It seemed that compared with himself, he was really not so incredible. It seems to be true, he must have eaten devil fruit which is related to lifespan. Brook said softly. Shakky shook his head. To tell you the truth, he knew very little about Suyu. He had only seen Suyu on the wanted order back then, and had never seen him in reality. I haven't seen it before, and it's even more unlikely that there will be any discussion, so Shakky really doesn't know what devil fruit Suyu eats. Not sure. At the same time, Suyu was fighting fiercely with Rayleigh. Of course, Suyu did not use any of his own devil fruit ability. After all, Suyu is not in a life and death battle with Rayleigh. He just thinks that Rayleigh has not been seen for many years and gave him a special gift. Boom. Both of them are on the hook foot and bumped into each other. Due to the impact, black light gleamed around their feet. Of course, the airflow is also generated. ZZ. The two immediately launched the Overlord Snake Haki, and a powerful pressure enveloped the surroundings. In the end, the two retracted their feet at the same time, retracting Conqueror's Haki. I'm old, my body can't keep up. Rayleigh's mouth raised slightly, his eyes squinted, and a smile leaked out, his eyes moistened. Long time no see, Rayleigh, Suyu said lightly. Of course, it didn't take long for Suyu, because he came to the future by accident. Ha 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 ha. Rayleigh leaked a relieved smile, and said with emotion, time flies so fast. Many years ago, we wanted to meet for the first time. At that time, we were only young people who were inexperienced in the world. Many years later, we want to see you again, I am old and you are still the same as before. With that said, tears were squeezed from the corner of Rayleigh's eyes. For some reason, when he saw Suyu, he remembered that he had sailed with Roger in this magnificent sea. At the beginning of the adventure together, traveling to the end together, it seems that it is just what happened yesterday. It's really old to get sand in your eyes. Suyu let out a sigh of relief. Back then, why did you leave quietly, as if the world has evaporated? Roger's biggest wish before his death was to have a drink with you, but unfortunately, there will never be a chance. Rayleigh said slightly regretfully. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's a long story. Or, let's have a good drink. I want to hear the story of the sea after I disappeared. Suyu suggested. Yes, let's have a drink. Seeing Suyu and Rayleigh walking slowly over, Luffy was a little surprised. Is this the end of the fight? Then let's go and ask Rayleigh to help us code it. Chopper suggested. It won't work today, because he has come to an important friend, and he doesn't have time to code you. Shakky left a word, and then turned around to prepare the wine. When Suyu and Rayleigh came in, Shakky moved out a large barrel of fine wine. Ready for you. Thank you so much, Shakky. Rayleigh said with a smile. No thanks, you guys have a drink, I will repair the door. Shakky whispered. I'm so sorry, I broke your door without paying attention. Suyu chuckled lightly. It's not a big problem. Shakky waved her hand, then turned and left. Next, Suyu talked to Rayleigh about the past. In Rayleigh's mouth, Suyu knew many things that happened after his disappearance. Back then, it was said that his crew had searched the world almost all over the world, but they did not find themselves. A few years before you disappeared, we were basically able to meet your crew, but slowly, many of your crew disappeared. Only a few are known at present. Rayleigh said slowly. After questioning, it was basically the same as what Shakky told herself, it was all the crew members' information. I think if you have time, you should go and see that Edward. I heard that he is not in good shape now. More importantly, I heard the news that his pirate crew has been arrested. In a few days, the sentence will be publicly executed. If I don't guess wrong, Edward will definitely help him. If he wins, it's okay, but if he loses, he will never see him again. After all, we are all people of the same era. I don't know what you think. Anyway, I may be older and a little nostalgic. Rayleigh said with a smile. Suyu took a big sip, then put down the wine barrel, and smiled. Yes, before looking for the crew, let me meet him first, so he belched, and I don't know until I die, Suyu still alive. Quote. Diaresis ha 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 ha. In the small shop, laughter would be heard from time to time. Shakky was receiving Luffy and the others, and occasionally sat aside, watching them talk and laugh. When she saw the wine, she went over and prepared it. In this way, drinking from day to night, the two finally fell asleep on the table. It seems that this time when drinking, Rayleigh has said everything for decades. Shakky took two cloaks and put them on the backs of Suyu and Rayleigh, and then said angrily, they are all a lot of old people, just like a child. The next day, it dawned. Suyu woke up. Although he drank a lot of alcohol last night, his physique didn't have much effect. Simply cleaned up. With a pointer given by Rayleigh, a map, and a large barrel of fine wine prepared by Shakky while drinking, Suyu was ready to set off. Wang Zhao Zhao, as soon as he went out, he didn't take a few steps, and a soft voice rang behind Suyu. Don't wait for the guy Rayleigh to wake up, do you want to say goodbye and leave? Shakky said. Suyu turned his head and smiled. No, we will meet again soon. You show up, I think this sea will be even more lively. Shakky said with a smile. Suyu didn't answer, but straightened his head, waved his hand, and then floated. Carrying a large barrel of wine, it was gone after a short while. Chapter 192. In the blink of an eye, another day passed in between. New World, on the sea. Many huge warships are sailing fast above the sea. On these huge battleships, a pirate flag with a skull and a crooked Whitebeard hung. Through this information, their identities can basically be guessed. That's right, he is the Whitebeard pirate group, one of the 4 emperors, and they are now rushing to the location of Ace's execution. How long do we need to get to our destination? Whitebeard leaned back on the ship deck and asked Marco and his group. Don't worry, old man, we can arrive before the execution. Malka explained. Whitebeard nodded, feeling relieved about what they did. No matter what accidents, we can never stop our sailing. Whitebeard said this again, obviously, how much he took Ace into his heart. Understand, father, don't worry, we will never make any mistakes in this matter, and we will definitely be rescued without incident. Marco said calmly. But even if Marco said so, Whitebeard is still a little uneasy at the moment. Of course, he will certainly not show it. At all times, he has to be confident in front of his sons. Although he is one of the 4 emperors in this world and he is known as the strongest man, he is not wrong, but strictly speaking, he has reached the age when he is exhausted. Your own strength will definitely be affected, and now, Marine has 3 Admiral, known as Marine's highest combat power, as well as Garp and Sengoku, who are his contemporaries, and so on. Whitebeard can already guess about this battle, his chances of winning are too small. However, it doesn't matter, Whitebeard doesn't care about the odds. The moment he set out to rescue Ace, he had already planned to use his life in exchange for Ace. In his eyes, he is the remnant party of the old age, and there is no ship that can carry him in the new age. However, Ace is different. He is still young, and he still has a lot of energy to sail in this magnificent sea. At the same time, a pirate hurried over, and then said in a hurry, "It's not good, old man, we have observed a very large object, which is flying towards us quickly." Upon hearing this, Whitebeard's group frowned. Could it be? It's the Marine from here. Marco frowned slightly. Yes, it's possible. Yes, maybe it's coming to intercept us and prevent us from rescuing Ace. Diamond. Joes also said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Marine. I don't look like it, but it's like a huge object. Take me to see. Marco said hurriedly. The man nodded. But just after the voice fell, Suyu saw that it was Whitebeard's pirate flag, and after observing it, he had already chosen the landing position. Boom. In an instant, it fell between Whitebeard and Marco. The map given by Rayleigh is really easy to use. He guessed right that you would take this route. Suyu said to himself, and then threw the map away, because for him, and it's no use anymore. Immediately afterwards, his gaze noticed on the ship deck again, because of the impact of his own descent, his legs directly plunged into the ship deck. Buckling his legs out, Suyu smiled faintly. I'm sorry, the impact of the descent is a bit big. You accidentally broke your boat, but it doesn't matter, just don't sink. Not far away, Marco, Joes and others looked at Suyu in surprise, and then spoke. Who is you guy? You know, this is one of the 4 emperors, Whitebeard's ship. Marco shouted. Suyu ignored him, but cast his eyes on Whitebeard who was 5 or 6 meters away from him. Sure enough, you have become bigger. Suyu smiled faintly, and then stepped forward slowly. Stop. Marco was slightly angry, and ran quickly, and rushed towards Suyu, while warning, stay away from my father. Suddenly, at this moment, Suyu directly released armament hockey, and the powerful impact directly caused Marco who was on the verge to fly upside down. Whitebeard was taken aback for a moment, but didn't say anything. In fact, he had recognized Suyu, and the reason he didn't speak was because his sudden appearance made him a little surprised. You guy, are you provoking our Whitebeard pirates? Joe said coldly towards Suyu's back. At the moment he just wanted to take a shot, Whitebeard finally said, Stop, Joes, he is my friend. What? When Whitebeard said this, everyone around him was stunned. Even Marco, who flew out upside down, got up and said, Father, why didn't you say it earlier? I thought it was someone who didn't know the life and death came over to find death. Yeah, Dad, if you're talking slower, I'm going to do it too. Joes followed. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. At first I thought it was Marine's people who came. I thought so too. Gum la la la. At this time, Whitebeard burst into laughter, and then responded to Jaws's words. This friend is a bit special, so his appearance made me stunned. As he said, Whitebeard cast his gaze on Suyu, and then smiled. I haven't seen you for many years, don't be unharmed, I'm already exhausted, you guys still meet us for the first time. It's about the same time. Suyu smiled. Is there any way, I'm slow. While speaking, he put down the big wine barrel on his back, and then continued. The wine I brought from another friend's shop, came all the way to have a drink with you. Chapter 193. Whitebeard glanced at the wine barrel Suyu was holding, and then laughed. Who do you look down on for such a little wine? Hearing that, Suyu immediately got a temper, and screamed. You don't need money, it's so easy to say, it's free, you still have so many requests, forget it, don't give you a drink. As soon as these words came out, before Whitebeard could make any response, Marco, Joes and the others immediately panicked. Yes, Whitebeard is the Emperor of the Sea, and what is his identity? Saying this, if the relationship is not iron enough, it is likely to be turned on the spot. This guy, hasn't he figured out the situation? Marco wrinkled. Who knows, anyway, we look like this fat guy. If something went wrong, something went wrong. Anyway, we know him again. Joe said lightly, saying that it doesn't matter if one picture was taken. Anyway, he doesn't know Suyu, even if it is. Being killed by Whitebeard didn't have any impact on him. Last time that Shanks came to our boat, he almost fought, but Shanks is also one of the Sea Emperors. Alas, I'm really afraid that guy can't stand it. Marco said with a little helplessness. However, then, Whitebeard's actions directly stunned Marco and the others. Goo la la la, I haven't seen it for many years, can't I complain about it? You old thing, I've been waiting for you to come over to find me for a drink at sea, but I've been waiting for a lonely one. Whitebeard, haha laughed. Old thing, Edward, your eyes are not good, you look at it, are you old? To be honest, I look younger than most of your sons. Suyu teased. So what, you are not about the same age as me. Whitebeard don't care. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk about these useless topics with you. Suyu sighed helplessly. Little ones, bring me a big bowl, Whitebeard ordered. Okay, old man. In a short while, a big bowl was placed in front of Whitebeard. Come on, fill it up. You think too much, what can I drink? You old thing, we haven't found you so stingy before. Shut up you, if it weren't for your age, I would definitely fight you. Suyu smiled. And Whitebeard on the side also laughed. As for the Whitebeard sons who watched not far away, they were a little confused. What does dad have to do with him? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yeah, I haven't seen the old man smile from the heart for a long time. What I said to him is like a small chat between family members. Why haven't we heard the old man mention this person before? It's not just a smile from the heart, but the whole person seems to have relaxed a lot. Thinking of the front, my father is frowning because of Ace's affairs, and I feel inexplicably uncomfortable. Moreover, no matter how you clash with dad is not angry. If Shanks had said this, it would have been a fight. It seems that the relationship between the old man and him is really strong. Drinking with Whitebeard is actually the same as drinking with Rayleigh. It is undoubtedly asking why it disappeared inexplicably. After talking about these things, the wine Suyu brought over was almost finished. At this moment, Whitebeard suddenly changed the subject. Suyu. Okay. Suyu looked at him with a surprised look. After all, he was laughing and joking. Suyu is not used to being so serious now. As you said, I am already an old man. This time, your appearance, to be honest, was pleasantly surprised and unexpected. To tell you the truth, I want to ask you for one thing. Suyu was startled slightly, he had actually guessed what it was, but he didn't say it. Just kidding, you are now one of the 4 emperors on the sea, and I, alas, even my name was erased from history by the world government. Suyu hadn't finished speaking yet, Whitebeard immediately vetoed. I'm not kidding you. No one can help me except you. Find flowers. Do you mean, let me walk with you? Suyu asked softly. Yes, you don't need to take action. If I fail, please help me and let my sons leave the place. As for me, it doesn't matter. Whitebeard's voice is very small, for fear that it will not be far away. Marco heard them. It seems, you have made a plan to never return. I have to say, your sons, joining your banner is a very right choice. Suyu smiled. Please, Suyu, you know, I have basically never asked anyone in my life. Whitebeard said lightly. Suyu was silent for a few seconds, then picked up the wine barrel and started drinking. It seems that the time to drink with you is not appropriate. I would have known that I will come back when you get it done. Suyu said with a smile. Thanks. Hehe, why don't we have a little friendship? Don't forget, turn around and invite me to drink. Suyu exhorted. Whitebeard smiled. Of course, if he could come back alive, he would have to drink wine. However, because of the Whitebeard incident, Suyu changed his goal. Yes, he has to use the propaganda of the world government to communicate the world and to his crew. Suyu, are back. Bring the wine. Whitebeard yelled at himself, Marco and them. Father, your body can't drink too much. Marco ordered. Today is an exception, hurry up, don't be disappointed. Listening to his father's tone, he has made up his mind, and it is impossible for him to dissuade him. Oh, there's no way, the old man's tone, I can't persuade him. Joe said helplessly from the side. Chapter 194. In the end, Marco, Joe's and others didn't intend to continue wasting the roots of their tongues. After all, they knew the best of their father's temper. After honestly bringing in several barrels of fine wine, they retreated to the side and watched quietly. Come on, Suyu, look at me, it's not as stingy as you are. You can drink here. These are the fine wines I have always treasured. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be willing to take it out. Whitebeard pointed to the surrounding several barrels of fine wine, smiled. Suyu gave him a white look, and then said angrily, Come on, Edward, it's because of your body, and I'm here, just giving you a reason to drink these wines. Goo la 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 la. After hearing Suyu's words, Whitebeard couldn't help laughing. Yes, as Suyu guessed, he had to control himself appropriately because of his body. And how can these little tricks escape Suyu's eyes? Suyu knew clearly that if Whitebeard was a young man, he would have drunk all the wine on the boat a long time ago, so how could this be treasured? My body is very strong. Whitebeard retorted weakly. Suyu was a little speechless and didn't bother to argue with Whitebeard, so he set his sights on the wine and drank gulps. In this way, after more than half an hour, both of them had already drunk a lot of wine by this time. Finally, Whitebeard directly summoned the captain under his ship and the other members who were on the ship. Daddy's formation. Is it going to announce the top 10 things? One of the men curiously began to speculate. Is it possible? It's related to Ace. It's very possible. As soon as the voice fell, Joe's directly hit the heads of them and gave a soft punch. Shut up, you guys, listen to the old man. Yes. Presumably, you are very strange to this one, Whitebeard said slowly. Marco and his party looked at Suyu for a while, and Whitebeard for a while, and then nodded their heads in response. His name is Suyu, he is a pirate of the same age as your dad. Whitebeard said with a smile. As soon as these words came out, Marco and the others were obviously a little unacceptable. Yes, as contemporaries, his father was already exhausted, but Suyu was so young. If they didn't know that their father would not deceive, they really didn't believe that Suyu and Whitebeard were pirates of the same era. Father, you are not kidding. Joes didn't dare to say anything. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Yeah, this guy, no matter how you look at it, he is about our age. Yes, I think so too. How could he be about the same age as the old man? It should be impossible. In response to their doubts, Whitebeard waved his hand and said solemnly, whether you believe it or not, Suyu is indeed a pirate of the same age as me. As for how he manages to maintain such a young appearance, it is estimated that only he knows it himself. If I remember correctly, the government offered him a bounty of more than 2 billion in the year he disappeared. More than 2 billion. A hint of shock clearly appeared on everyone's faces. Yes, they are the most curious right now. The pirates of more than 2 billion are considered to be a great pirate, and there is no reason why they haven't heard of it. I know your doubts. After he disappeared, the world government erased his name from history. Seeing their doubts, Whitebeard woke up. Speaking of which, more than 2 billion back then, isn't it a pirate at the same level as my father now? It's too scary. It's the same level as the old man, and, being so young, I'm afraid it's the heyday. There is one more 4 Emperors level pirate, Tusk. I can't imagine what Marine will think, ha 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 ha. Suddenly, just as they were talking, Whitebeard suddenly said, is it possible, the other day, Kizaru, one of the Marine 3 Admirals, was defeated by you? Suyu nodded and spread his hands, expressing helplessness. I can't help it. I am not interested in that Kizaru at all. He insists on chasing me, so I can only beat him. Goo la la la. When Whitebeard heard the words, he burst into laughter. And Marco and the others are frowning. Yes, in their mouths, Kizaru, one of Marine's 3 most powerful admiral, has become a kid. The Kaido you beaten back then has become the Sea Emperor, do you know this? Whitebeard continued. What? Marco and the others were shocked again. Kaido, who belonged to one of the 4 emperors with his father, was beaten by Suyu. Because of Whitebeard's words, Marco and the others felt that Suyu was a monster. Seeing the shocked look of his sons, Whitebeard smiled faintly, and continued. This is nothing unusual, and Suyu beaten him more than once. Had it not been for Marine, I am afraid that Kaido had hiccup. I am clear. Suyu responded. After all, he already knew it back then. If there were no accidents, 3 pirates in Rock's pirate would become the future Sea Emperor. Too strong. Marco and his group cast envy eyes at Suyu. No wonder you just bounced you off easily. Joes added from the side. Isn't that normal? That's an old pirate. Even if you go up, the end will be the same. Marco said slowly. That's hard to say. At the same time, 3.6 Holy Land Mary Geois. Marine Marshal Sengoku held a special meeting. Marine 3 Admiral, and some former veterans also participated in this meeting. Of course, including the former Marshal Marine, Gangbone Kong. What urgent matter is more important than the execution of the captain of the Whitebeard pirate group? On the corridor, Akainu was obviously somewhat unacceptable about the gathering for the meeting. Of course, he didn't disobey orders, but he felt that if he participated in this meeting, in case Ace made an error, it would be totally uneconomical as a whole. Chapter 195. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Quiet your anger. Calm your anger. Marshal Sengoku must have his thoughts why he did this. Marine, who was next to Akainu, explained. Regarding this set of rhetoric, Akainu did not eat at all, and said, I think he knows Sengoku better than anyone else. At this special time, Ace will soon escort Malinfanto. There is a great possibility that he will be on the way. Was attacked by Whitebeard. This. The Marine was not talking. Anyway, he would be stunned for anything he said, so he just didn't say anything. Humph. Akainu dissatisfied and continued. If there is any accident, I won't carry this pot. About half an hour later, all the people gathered by Sengoku arrived. The person sitting in it can basically be called the representative Marine character of the 2 eras. After everyone was there, Sengoku finally made a sound. Not long ago, as Marine's highest combat force representative, one of the 3 Admiral Kizaru was defeated in the Chambord Islands. I am afraid everyone has heard it. Well, this is really incredible. Aokiji Kaido. When we heard the news for the first time, I thought it was because of Ace that I was attacked by Whitebeard. Another man said. No, Sengoku, you have to pull all of us to have this meeting just because of this. If you do this, I think it's a fuss. Akainu couldn't help but say. Sengoku glanced at Akainu, but ignored him. Instead, he said to himself, the one who defeated Kizaru is not an ordinary person. He should have disappeared in this world history, but I don't know why he came back. Quote. With that said, Sengoku directly picked up the wanted order on his back, and threw it on the table. Following that, whether it was the Marine of the new era or the old era, they all took a wanted order. Next, they all showed an extremely ugly expression. Yes, a few decades ago, his bounty was as high as more than 2 billion. Since he disappeared, the world government will remove his name from history. Now, it's not an exaggeration to say that his strength should be the strength of the 4 emperors level, or even higher. Sengoku said solemnly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. When Akainu heard the words, he was slightly startled, his face was not so good, and said, so, what is the core of this meeting? The core is that we are in big trouble. Sakazuki, you don't understand the seriousness of this matter at all. On the side, the former Marshal Marine said in a deep voice. Yeah, Sakazuki, you don't understand what this means. What is the most vicious pirate representative? Only the era before Roger can be called the most vicious pirate era. Both he and Roger are outstanding people who have emerged from that extremely vicious era. Sengoku said calmly. The most important issue is that Suyu has a certain friendship with Whitebeard. He may intervene in this battle. What we Marine has to face is to work with 2-4 Emperors level guys. Moreover, this is not the worst. If all the members of the Super Dimension pirate group were all present, things will develop to the point where we can't estimate it. Gang Gukong added. Obviously, he is to let these guys of the new era fully understand the horror of the pirates of the old era. Garp, who was sitting by the side, didn't say a word. On the contrary, he was a little out of tune with all the Marines present. Yes, the faces of others are extremely ugly and worried. And Garp, but a relaxed look. Also, for him, he hopes that Whitebeard can rescue Ace smoothly. After all, in Garp's eyes, although Ace didn't have any blood relationship with him, he always treated him like a grandson. However, Garp is still a bit entangled. In case Suyu and Whitebeard join forces, the pressure on the world government is still great. Responsibilities on one side and relatives on the other are purely difficult to choose. Garp, you have to say something too. When you were young, you had handed over to Suyu many times. Sengoku exhorted. Garp was startled slightly, glanced around and cast his gaze, then sighed lightly. There is no way. In this case, he has to say something. Well, anyway, you can just treat that guy named Suyu as a monster. He is very strong and extremely terrifying. Just ask Kizaru how you feel. Garp said, leaving this troublesome thing to no one. Kizaru in the distance. Seeing everyone cast their eyes on him, Kizaru could only say, he seems to have a variety of devil fruit abilities and can fly. Quote question mark quote. You guy didn't stupid him, a variety of devil fruit abilities. Akainu directly retorted when he heard it. He's right, as long as 680 appears on Suyu, anything is possible. Sengoku said slowly. Actually, Sakazuki, that guy not only has a variety of devil fruit abilities, but he is not even afraid of sea stone, like sea water. Garp said casually. Akainu, you think I will believe this kind of nonsense, demon fruit power who is not afraid of sea stone? That's true, Sakazuki. Sengoku slapped him again. Akainu broke down a bit. He always felt that everyone in the meeting room seemed to be targeting him. What was the situation? In the end, he didn't speak at all, nor was he thinking about Suyu. Instead, he was thinking about when this boring meeting could be finished so that he could leave. Regarding the latter topic, he almost didn't listen at all. After the meeting, he hurriedly left the meeting room, asking about the situation where Ace was escorted. All in all, Akainu is still working hard. Chapter 196. At the same time, the Holy Land Mary Geois, Pengu City is also holding an unusual meeting. Yes, the core figures of this meeting are the 3 men Yim plus once known as 5 elders survived. Meet Master Yim. The loud voice echoed throughout the hall, spreading to every corner of the hall. Sitting on the void throne, she held her head with one hand. After hearing the sound, she slowly opened her eyes and glanced at the 3 old men who were kneeling below with a sharp look. I don't know. Lord Yim summoned us this time, what is the so-called? The old man in the middle said. Im's cold eyes fell on the person who spoke, and then said coldly, when are you planning to act stupid? As soon as Yim's voice fell, the expressions of the 3 elders suddenly changed, and they rushed to bow and bowed in unison. No, don't dare. I am Sama summoned us this time because of Suyu. After the topic was corrected, Yim did not pursue them for pretending to be stupid, but asked, why, don't you notify me the first time? Master Yim, please calm down. The reason why I didn't notify you the first time is because I think we have a solution. Yeah, Lord Im, we just don't want to disturb you even a little bit. As soon as this word came out, Im began to sneer. The trembling laughter lingered in this hall. It's so ridiculous. You didn't have any way to deal with him decades ago. After decades, how can you stand him? According to the news I received, he is still young, and you already old. Im said calmly. The 3 elders lowered their heads in silence. Yes, as Yim said, you can't do anything with him decades ago, let alone decades later. What do you think, Lord Yim? To tell the truth, Yim's face at this moment is far more ugly than when Suyu attacked the Holy Land Mary Geois. It is normal to have such a contrast, because decades ago, even if Suyu did it, Yim felt that the threat to him would not be fatal. But decades later, this time is different, because the 3 ancient weapons have already awakened. If Suyu got the artifact, the consequences would be unimaginable. The 800 dynasty created by the world government is likely to be overthrown. This is why Im did not enter a state of emergency when he knew that Lox was looking for the 3 ancient weapons, because she knew that at that time, it was too early, and Poseidon, the Sea King, was not born at all. I think you should be very clear, what does this point in time represent? Im said calmly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. We understand. Understand that you don't know the importance of things. In the Roger era, because the 3 ancient weapons are not in time, I let him go crazy, but now that Suyu has appeared, he is very likely to become the next Roger. At the same time, the time has come for the 3 ancient weapons. Master Yim, do you have any plans? The old man next to him asked softly. First heard that Marine captured the crew of Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors. I am asked coldly. Yes, his name is Ace. That guy is Roger's son back then. The man in the middle replied. Roger's son. Hee hee. No wonder, Whitebeard is going to rescue him. I heard about this. Suyu is likely to join forces with Whitebeard. If the three of you make a move, do your best to make Suyu fall. He has lived for too long. After Eames said, he deliberately paused every word to emphasize the point of this statement. Receive the order. Go down. Yes. As soon as the words fell, the three elders slowly left this magnificent hall. Eames stared at the empty hall, his eyes flashed. No matter who it is, I will never allow anyone to overthrow the 800-year dynasty of the world government. One day later, New World, an island. In a certain room, heavy footsteps slowly sounded. Following Uchiha Madara opened the door and walked in. Senju Hashirama inside the room lifted his eyes slightly, staring at Uchiha Madara. Madara, what's the matter? Senju Hashirama asked subconsciously. In the waters near our island, many marine warships appeared today, and, according to my report, several people who pretended to be our island have been caught. Uchiha Madara randomly found a location while talking. Sat down. Marine, what's the matter? If I remember correctly, over the years, we have not been in conflict with marine well water. Why are they making an exception? While talking about this, Senju Hashirama suddenly remembered something in his mind, and his face changed slightly. Diaresis, could it be that what happened at sea? This island, named Konoha Island, was created after Suyu disappeared that year. He and Uchiha Madara teamed up to create an island known as the safest island in the world. It is similar to the situation in Wano country. They basically will not leave the island. In the beginning, Marine would often come to make trouble, and later because of a big battle, Marine would basically not land on this island. Today, Marine reappeared near the island and even landed on the island. Obviously, things may not be so simple. Uchiha Madara nodded. Maybe it is really possible. But even if it is, I will definitely not let them mess. Billy. As soon as Uchiha Madara's voice of Wang Qian fell, the phone worm next to Senju Hashirama rang down the valley. Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama froze for a while, and then Senju Hashirama took it anyway. Sorry, Mr. Hashirama, to contact you in this way. Senju Hashirama heard the words, his eyes flashed slightly, with a bad premonition. Who are you? I am a member of the world government. First of all, I apologize to you. My people have landed on this island. However, this is also to get your contact information. We, the world government, don't want to destroy the peaceful relationship we maintain directly. What do you want to say? Uchiha Madara greeted impatiently. Chapter 197. After hearing what Uchiha Madara said, Senju Hashirama didn't bother to talk nonsense with him, and went straight to the topic. So, what do you world government want to do? Do you want to go to war? If this is the case, we will stay with him to the end. When the staff of the world government over there heard this, they were a little panicked and hurriedly explained. Don't, Mr. Hashirama, our world government has always wanted to maintain this peaceful relationship. This time I'm brazenly disturbing, it's because Marine has caught a captain of Whitebeard's banner. I'm afraid you will interfere, so I'm ahead of time. Let me tell you. However, the staff of the world government are still very careful. If Suyu hadn't appeared, they wouldn't bother Senju Hashirama at all. After all, Suyu appeared, which means that many things are full of unknowns. They are afraid that the once super-dimensional pirate group will gather at the execution ground of Ace. If this is the case, then the trouble will be big. Therefore, even in this negotiation, they didn't mention Suyu a word, and the trouble was big when they mentioned it. Uchiha Madara, who was standing next to Senju Hashirama, suddenly got a temper. He grabbed the phone worm in Senju Hashirama's hand and cursed. You world government is crazy, don't you understand? A leader of Whitebeard's team was arrested, it's our shit. Quiet your anger, calm your anger, you should be Mr. Madara at 680. Even if our peaceful relationship has been maintained, then we will withdraw first and disturb. The world government official hung up the phone quickly, saying that something happened too much. Accidents, then the gains outweigh the losses. However, through this conversation, the world government has learned that Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara will not interfere with this muddy water. Inexplicable, Uchiha Madara said grimly. I'm afraid. I always feel that guy only said superficially. It seems that there is something in the words. Senju Hashirama guessed. What about him? If the marine guys do something, let's do it with him. Uchiha Madara said firmly. Forget it, let me ask Lem about the situation there. Senju Hashirama murmured, and then quickly dialed the phone worm. Hey, this is Hashirama. Hashirama, you called just right. Today, there are many marine warships staying in the waters near our island. Rem said uneasily. Sure enough, same as I thought. Could it be yours too? Well, that's right. Senju Hashirama nodded, and then continued. Let's do it. I don't know what the marine guy is doing. You let the tornado guy send you to my island. Or, you can send it to Aizen. He and I can protect your safety at any time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Okay, I'll let Tornado send us to your place. It's too boring to go to Aizen's place. He has been busy with things. Lem explained. Okay, you'd better set off immediately to avoid accidents. Finally, Senju Hashirama exhorted. Okay. After solving the Lem case, Senju Hashirama called Aizen again, and Aizen didn't get through after a long time. I am Hashirama. Of course I know you are Hashirama. Don't talk nonsense, talk about it. Are there any marine warships around you today? Senju Hashirama asked. Marine battleship. Are you coming to me for such a trivial matter? Aizen asked. It's not a small thing. I always feel that something is happening in this sea. I think you should have information. Senju Hashirama continued to ask. After all, he had heard before that Aizen had an intelligence team that claimed to be the world's #1. As long as there was any movement in the ocean, he would know immediately. Don't mention, this world is too boring. I disbanded the intelligence team a long time ago. In addition, the marine battleship you just mentioned does exist, but I have already pushed it into the sea. Aizen said lightly. Quote. Senju Hashirama sighed, but, this is true. Aizen is different from him. He now has a little baggage. Aizen is still alone. If you marine warship dare to go to his site to investigate the situation, that's not killing him. Well, I thought you had information. By the way, do you have any news about Suyu? Aizen asked. No. Okay, let's do this first. Aizen quickly hung up the phone worm. Yes, he is only interested in Suyu in this world. Unfortunately, that guy has evaporated. However, it is a pity that Aizen disbanded his intelligence team. If it had not been disbanded, it is estimated that all the crew members now know that Suyu has appeared. Marine headquarters. Then according to your arrangement, will this execution be broadcast live to the world after all? You have to think clearly. It's live broadcast. If Suyu comes, I'm afraid his former crew will already know about it. Garp reminded Sengoku. It's been so many years, I guess my heart is no longer up. They have established their own forces. Even if Suyu returns, I think it is impossible for them to return to the pirates. Sengoku announced, with their own opinions. It's really hard to say. Gengukong shook his head slightly. What you said is possible, but what if? Garp, you believe me, my analysis is not much different. At most, his former crew knew that Suyu appeared. I am afraid that only a few will return. After all these years, everyone has already not everyone back then. Sengoku said slowly. Perhaps, according to normal people, I am afraid it is really as Sengoku guessed. It is a pity that the Super Dimension pirates have their own secret. They are all from different worlds, and their loyalty to Suyu is 100%, let alone decades, even if it is hundreds or thousands. As long as Suyu is willing, the Super Dimension pirate group will return at any time. That's the case, you are determined, then it's useless for me to say anything. Garp said lightly. Garp, during the execution, I hope you can clearly recognize that you are a marine. Sengoku knows the relationship between him and Ace, so he reminded him in advance. Chapter 198. Are you doubting me, Sengoku? Garp fixed his gaze on Sengoku. Sengoku waved his hand and quickly explained. I didn't say that, just to remind you. In the entire marine, except me, no one can understand you better than me. Indeed, as Sengoku said, Garp has regarded Ace as his own grandson. If Marine is stopped on the execution ground, it is waiting to betray Marine. In many cases, good and evil are nothing more than human thoughts. Garp is getting old. If Garp takes action and betrays Marine, then all the credit he has spent nearly a lifetime playing for Marine will be lost. No matter what happens, Sengoku will definitely prevent Garp from messing around on the execution ground. Although they often argue about some things, it has no effect on their relationship. Okay, stop arguing. I also think Sengoku's analysis is quite reasonable, and the once super-dimensional pirates now each have their own power. Even if Suyu is back, the super-dimension pirates will not come back. For example, Rock's pirate used to be. His previous crew members, Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, and Whitebeard have all become Sea Emperors. Even if Rox returns, do you think Rock's pirate will return? Sora said slowly. Sengoku shook his head. Obviously no, if something is past, it is past. Probably that's the truth. If it is so, then the plan will remain unchanged. This execution will still be broadcast live to the world. Steel Sky's path. Sengoku nodded in agreement. During the live broadcast, he intends to announce the identity of Ace to the world. In this way, an incredible effect will be achieved. The majesty of the world government will definitely get a lot of improvement from it, and it is also very good to advise some people who want to become pirates, but have not yet become pirate guys. Look, when you are a pirate, even if you become the pirate king, you cannot escape the result of being executed. As the son of the devil bloodline of the pirate king, he was born a sin, not to mention that he repeated his father's path. As a result, just like his father, he couldn't escape being executed. In this way, this live broadcast can dispel many guys who want to be pirates. There is no doubt that the emergence of pirates in the era of pirates will definitely be reduced a lot. By the way, where is Shichibukai? Gengukong suddenly asked again. There should be no problem either. Sengoku replied. Well, this battle will become the fiercest in history in these years. It is still necessary to do more preparation. After all, Shichibukai said it is a pirate, but it is also an alliance with our marine. I know this. Okay, let's talk about it all. Let's go to work on our own. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As the time to execute Ace gets closer and closer, no matter it's marine or pirates, whoever feels uneasy. Marine is doing everything possible to deal with the Whitebeard pirates, and the Whitebeard pirates, if Suyu did not appear, it is estimated that they would be racking their brains to find a way to rescue Ace from the execution ground. At the same time, in a certain area of New World, a huge ship was slowly approaching the ships of the Whitebeard pirate group from the side. And his pirate banner is a skeleton with 2 swords, and there are a few scratches on the eyes of the skull. Obviously, the pirate group of this ship is not unknown, and one of the 4 Sea Emperors, Red Hair Pirates. His goal is obvious, and he must also interfere in this battle. Papa, the red-haired guy is here again, Marco reported hurriedly. At this time, Whitebeard, sitting on a single sofa on the deck of the ship, looked at Suyu who was fishing. Of course, they would occasionally chat about the past, but it was not actually for watching Suyu fishing. Hearing this, Whitebeard didn't look strange, but said slowly, I can see it. Then, what should we do? He seems to want to land on our ship. Marco continued. Let him come up. Find flowers. It's daddy. When Marco left, Suyu turned his head. Red hair. Goo la 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 la. Whitebeard laughed, thinking that Suyu didn't know this person, so he explained, huh. The name is Shanks. That stinky boy is just an intern under Roger's ship. Shanks. According to the plot of the original book, Suyu remembers, didn't Shanks intercept Kaido? Why did you come here? However, if you think about it carefully, there is nothing impossible. After all, the appearance of yourself has more or less caused a butterfly effect. That guy can be regarded as the best crew member currently under Roger, and he has become one of the 4 Sea Emperors. Whitebeard said lightly. ... 0. Of course he didn't pay much attention to the red-haired Shanks, after all, in his eyes, he was always a brat. After a short while, Shanks and Ben Beckman landed on the ship where Whitebeard was. On the deck of the ship, there was a clear sound of footsteps, and then 2 figures appeared in front of Whitebeard. Before Shanks could speak, Whitebeard said, What? You are here to fight? It's rude. I didn't want to fight when I came this time. I just came to discuss some things. Shanks said politely. Facing Whitebeard, he was always in a relaxed state. One can imagine how strong he is. Discussing. Is this what Hockey's exposed man said? UB *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Whitebeard's words, but went on to say, I am not in a hurry this time. It is not like the last time. I brought home wine. I'm really sorry. However, what I am going to discuss this time is an extremely important matter. It is the same for you and me. Chapter 199. After listening to Shanks, Whitebeard's eyes fixed on him. He wanted to see what Shanks this guy had to discuss with him. Seeing that Whitebeard stopped speaking, Shanks continued, the last time I visited you, I told you about Ace. It's a pity that you didn't listen to my opinion. That's why it led to the result today. Upon hearing this, with Whitebeard's temper, he frowned, are you educating me? Kid. After all, Whitebeard didn't give Shanks any face, stood up, grabbed the naginata on the side and swung it down at Shanks. Shanks reacted quickly, and directly drew out the western sword from his waist to greet him. Boom. Accompanied by a clear sound, the surrounding area suddenly caused a strong air current and the boat began to violently toss. I'm not here to fight with you, I just have a good talk with you, and I don't mean to educate you. Shanks quickly explained. However, Whitebeard didn't listen, and just about to continue swinging, Suyu's voice rang from the side. Forget it, Edward, it's not necessary. Get out of my boat. Whitebeard retracted the naginata and sat back on the sofa. Seeing Whitebeard's movement, Shanks was slightly startled, and glanced at Suyu who was sitting on the boat fence. I felt a little weird in my heart, and even a word could persuade Whitebeard. Moreover, this man, he hadn't seen it the last time he came. However, it is normal for Shanks not to know Suyu. When Suyu met Roger, neither Shanks nor Buggy had joined the Roger Pirates as interns. Joined later, Suyu and Roger never met again, and then disappeared. As for Whitebeard, he wasn't scared. After all, if there was a fight, neither side would get any benefit at this time. On the contrary, he was able to come because of Ace. Ace is Luffy's brother. He naturally hopes that Whitebeard can successfully rescue Ace. After all, he also has a relationship with Ace. Shanks put the western sword in his hand into the scabbard, and then reminded, Kaido is ready to attack you, but you can rest assured to save Ace, I will help you stop him. There will be a period. Shanks just wanted to leave, Suyu interjected. Wait, you mean Kaido attacked? Shanks nodded. Yes, according to the information I have, Kaido guy just wants to take this opportunity to do something to take advantage of it. After hearing what Shanks said, Suyu's mind suddenly flashed a thought. Yes, he wanted to go out and move, because staying in Whitebeard's boat was too boring. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. That's right, I'll go with you, I'm going to be suffocated to stay here. Suyu jumped up from the ship fence and said with a smile. Whitebeard was slightly taken aback. Follow this kid, can you hurry? Of course, Whitebeard is still afraid that Suyu will have a little accident and will not be able to catch the battlefield of Ace's execution. If he can win, if he fails, he will probably get most of his sons in. Don't forget, Edward, I can fly, and my speed is much faster than your old ship in disrepair. Suyu teased. The corners of Whitebeard's mouth raised slightly. If that's the case, then it's up to you. Suyu moved her body for a while, then cast her eyes on Shanks. Let's go. Shanks nodded, turned around, and walked away, while Ben Beckman quickly followed. As for Suyu, a blue light appeared on her body, and then she floated. In a short time, Suyu and the others moved from Whitebeard's ship to Shanks' ship. Of course, the Shanks crew felt a little curious in their hearts when they saw that their captain had brought a stranger. Boss, who is this? Yeah, didn't you mean to discuss things with Whitebeard? How did you bring back a stranger? Is it possible? One of the men suddenly increased his voice, but after feeling that he was heard by Suyu not far away, he suddenly lowered his voice again. Is it possible that this is the newcomer the boss has drawn from the Whitebeard ship? Shanks, who was walking in the front, heard this, turned around, gave him a blank look, and then said silently, "Don't think too much, I don't know this person. The reason why he got on our boat is because he wants to join us to stop Kaido." Oh, everyone suddenly realized, and after an explanation, Shanks walked into the ship's interior. At this time, Ben Beckman, who had been silent, said, "However, I don't think this kid is easy." So, everyone glanced at Suyu from time to time, then looked at Ben Beckman again. The boss had a conflict on Whitebeard's boat just now. Just after a move, if there is no accident, there will be a fight, but he stopped Whitebeard with a word. Ben Beckman said slowly. "Real or fake? You can't lie to you. Basically, you can rule out a strong background, because Whitebeard doesn't care who your background is. The only thing is that the guy is also very strong." One of them analyzed. "Come on, isn't your analysis all nonsense? What kind of demon fruit power is that guy? I just saw him flying here." "I don't know, it's the first time I have seen each other, how can I know it?" As they were talking about 3.6, Shanks walked out carrying a barrel of fine wine in one hand. "Drinking?" Shanks asked Suyu. "Yes." Suyu nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, Shanks threw the barrel in his hand directly. "Although it's not a good wine, it's not bad. By the way, I asked a digression. I didn't see you on Whitebeard's boat last time. Are you new to the Whitebeard pirates?" Suyu put down the barrel in his hand and said lightly, "No, I'm just Edward's friend." Chapter 200. Whitebeard's friend. Shanks was a little surprised when he heard this. If he remembers correctly, that fellow Whitebeard is not someone who makes friends casually. "After all, I have seen the situation just now. Because of my young age, I will give you a naginata if I don't agree." So I was a little surprised when Suyu said he was a friend of Whitebeard. Suyu nodded and continued. "Are there any bowls? Please help me with that big name." "Yes, any of you will bring me 2 big bowls," Shanks yelled. As soon as the voice fell, I got a reply. "Okay, boss, wait a moment." Suyu sat down next to the wine barrel, and then smiled faintly. "Not only Whitebeard, even your former captain, I have some friendship with him." "What?" Shanks was shocked again when he heard Suyu's words. His captain had passed away for more than 20 years, and Suyu actually said that he had some friendship with his captain. Hey, you are not kidding me, the former captain of my house, but the One Piece." Shanks' crew not far away interjected. 12 Yes, he is not from the same age as us. Although I really don't want to dismantle you, but you can't help it if you put it on a rock. Ha 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 ha. There was a continuous laughter from the crowd. Suyu didn't argue, just smiled. "I believe you," Shanks said suddenly. As soon as the voice came out, the surrounding laughter suddenly stopped. "Unimportant," Suyu simply replied, and at the same time the big names have already taken them. He was not polite at all, unscrewed the lid, grabbed it directly, poured it into the big wrist, and threw the barrel over to Shanks. Immediately after picking it up, I drank gulps. "Not bad, your wine." Suyu sighed. "Although it's not as good as fine wine, it can quench your thirst." Shanks laughed, and then continued. "I want to hear what you and Roger did back then." Of course, what Shanks asked was not to test Suyu, but he had completely believed in Suyu, but he simply wanted to hear Roger's past with him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Actually, there are not many intersections, it's just a collaboration in New World once, letting locks fall in the Valley of the Gods. Suyu said lightly, and then took another sip of wine. As everyone knows, after Shanks heard locks in the Valley of Gods, his heart touched. Although he didn't participate in that year, when he joined the Roger Pirates later, he often heard the crew mention it. "Your name is Suyu." Shanks asked that Suyu's life was not mentioned at all on Whitebeard's ship just now, so Shanks didn't know what Suyu was called. Now I know that it was because when he was on the Roger ship, he heard people often mention that Roger cooperated with Suyu in the Valley of the Gods, and jointly defeated the then Sea Overlord, Locks. Okay. Suyu nodded, but didn't think much about it. "It seems that my luck is too good to be able to meet seniors again," Shanks said with a smile on his face. Senior. The crew of Shanks around was dumbfounded. What happened? You ask me, I don't know, just stop suddenly. Yeah, our boss is one of the 4 emperors on the sea. Isn't this a predecessor's call a bit too abrupt? It's over, shouldn't it be? When I was shocked with Whitebeard just now, I was shocked. Ben Beckman said dumbfounded. Although their words were whispered, Shanks could still hear them clearly. He turned his head and glanced at Ben Beckman grumpily, then said, "Don't talk nonsense." However, the Suyu called by the seniors did not respond. What he said is true. He is a friend of Captain Roger and also a friend of Whitebeard. As you said earlier, he is a pirate in Roger's era. Shanks said solemnly. Suddenly, the surrounding area became quiet, and immediately followed by a burst of unanimous, "Huh." Single quote dot. This young appearance, isn't it possible? Yeah, if you didn't tell me the boss, whoever told me I didn't believe he was a pirate in Roger's era. Totally. I can't tell how old this guy is at all. Because it was sailing separately, Whitebeard's ship was long gone, but at the same time, not far away, a huge ship was slowly approaching in the direction of Shanks. In addition to a basic skull on his pirate banner, he also added a pair of big horns, and underneath was an object that looked like a horoscope. 680. Yes, this pirate group is the real Beast's pirates, one of the 4 Sea Emperors. And their purpose, as Shanks said, was to attack Whitebeard. On board, a member hurriedly ran to Beast's pirates, Jack the Drow, known as one of the 3 major disasters. Jack, the confidant of 4 emperors Kaido. His devil fruit is a person with the ability of elephant fruit ancient species mammoth form. No. It's not good, Whitebeard's boat was not found, but the red-haired Shanks' boat was found. Jack opened his feet when he heard the words, then stood up, snatched the binoculars from the member's hand, and walked to the front of the ship. After taking a closer look, Jack said lightly, "It's really the ship of the red-haired Shanks. Do you need to report to Captain Kaido?" Jack frowned slightly, his eyes with a trace of disdain. "Are you looking down on me? Move the boat over." Chapter 201. Hearing Jack's roar, the crew member was so frightened that he didn't dare to say more, nodding his head, and stepping back. At this time, the crew on Shanks's side naturally found the traces of Beast's pirates. "Boss, here comes, as you guessed, Kaido's gang is here." "Yes, and it looks aggressive. It seems that Kaido guy has done enough preparations." Another pirate in charge of the investigation continued. Shanks, who was drinking with Suyu, was taken aback after hearing this, and then smiled and said, "It seems to be faster than I expected." No, Kaido guy must think that this time is a great opportunity. If this time is not successful, I guess it will be difficult to find such a good opportunity in the future. Tisk tusk tusk, Ben Beckman added. "How many warships are coming from Beast's pirates?" Shanks asked. "One, but this one is very big," the pirate who was investigating replied. "One." Muttering, Shanks stood up, and then said to Suyu with a smile on his face, "It seems that I have to slow down for a while for drinking and chatting. It came really fast, this barrel of wine hasn't been finished yet." Suyu said, stood up, and stretched. Afterwards, they followed Shanks to the front of the ship, preparing to face the Beast's pirates. At the same time, Beast's pirates has also approached Shanks' ship. On the front of his ship, Kaido was not seen, but 3 senior officials from Beast's pirates, collectively called the 3 disasters. The 3 major hazards are Jayan, Kuin, and Jack. The 3 of them crossed their hands on their chests, stood in the front, staring at the ship on the opposite side of locks. "Oh, it's Kaido's senior cadre." Shanks spoke first with a smile on his face. "Red hair, you are here, are you trying to stop us?" Jack asked in a deep voice. "Stop, do you think you can stop us? Our captain is also of the 4 emperors level." Quinn sneered. However, if the 3 of their cadres encountered red-hair pirates, they might have converged a little, but now their captain is also on this ship, the momentum must not be low in this respect. Facing them, Shanks just smiled. At first, Shanks wanted to make a deal with Kaido, but now, a special person has come, so he thinks that this deal can be done without. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. You guessed it right, I'm here to stop you from attacking Whitebeard. Shanks picked out his intentions directly. "I remember, your relationship with Whitebeard is not so good," Jack said coldly. "Brush." Shanks pulled out the western sword hanging from his waist, pointed it at Jack, and said, "You don't need to worry about this." When Jack heard Shanks's words, he was furious, clenched his fists tightly, and shouted, "Don't be too arrogant, red hair." After all, he jumped up directly, seeing that this formation was directly trying to come over and destroy Shanks' ship. Suyu was stunned when he saw Jack's behavior. "It's such a meow, how dare you? This is a character of the same level as your captain. If he doesn't agree with him, he just started it." However, Jack is really arrogant. In the original book, after Luffy defeated Doflamingo, Kaido asked Jack to rescue him, and the marine who escorted Doflamingo's ship included Marine Admiral Fujitora, former Marshal Sengoku, 4 warships of Lieutenant General Crane. As for Jack, he didn't hesitate at all when he shot it. Maybe, in his eyes, life and death are not important, but the important thing is to play out the momentum. "Let me see how powerful the senior cadres under Kaido are." Suyu murmured from the side, and then disappeared instantly. In the blink of an eye, he had already reached the sky, and he saw his armament hockey covering his hands, and then hitting the pounced Jack with a punch. Faced with Suyu who suddenly appeared, Jack was surprised, but he greeted him quickly. Boom! Accompanied by a crisp sound, an air current spread, and the surface of the sea was impacted with waves. The 2 of them froze in the air for a second, and after that, Jack flew upside down and hit their boat directly. Boom! In front of the beast pirate ship, Jack's body was directly smashed to pieces. Suyu floating in the air was taken aback for a moment and told the truth that the current situation is a bit similar to when Kaido hit 1.5 billion Luffy in the original book. Quote. "Diaresis, do you dare to do this?" Suyu muttered. Jack stood up staggeringly, and cursed angrily, "A-hole, damn guy." He just wanted to continue attacking. Behind him, a hand was placed on his shoulder. Jack suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. He slowly turned his head back, but at this moment, he met Kaido's eyes. "Stand up. You be **************, D, what are you doing?" Kaido scolded angrily. Guy, Captain Kaido, it's not what you think, it's the redhead Shanks blocking our way. Jack felt like explaining. Red-haired Shanks. Huh, that stinky kid. Kaido looked disdainful, retracted his hand on Jack's shoulder, and walked out. Through the smoke and dust, Kaido soon arrived in front of the ship. And Jack is followed by Wang Qian is good. Quinn and Jin screamed one after another. Captain Kaido. However, Kaido's gaze did not sweep over the two of them, nor did he look at Shanks, but fixed his gaze on Suyu floating above the void. Yes, Kaido's hatred for Suyu is too deep, so when he first saw it, he recognized it. This guy is the man who caused himself to lose twice in the past. Kaido, it's been a long time. Suyu raised his mouth slightly and said towards Kaido. Chapter 202. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Sorry, I'm late, the author went to watch the king's ceremony, and it turned out to be lonely. Kaido's sharp gaze stared at Suyu floating above the void, as if thinking of something, the expression on his face began to become hideous. You guy, isn't it dead? The world government has erased your past history. Now, you have appeared again. Kaido said in a deep voice. Ha ha, Suyu sneered, then waved his hand. Quite unexpected Kaido, I thought that after a few decades, you have forgotten me. Kaido gritted his teeth angrily when he heard the words. I will remember your face for the rest of my life, even if it turns to ashes, Suyu. Let's talk about it. Kaido's body is far beyond the body he used to fight against Suyu. Really? Suyu smiled slightly. Go get my weapon. Kaido called to Quinn beside him. Captain Kaido, this shouldn't bother you. Quinn replied. In their eyes, Kaido only needs to deal with Shanks. When dealing with other people, this is completely unnecessary, because they think they can deal with the three plagues. Yeah, such a move will reduce your status. Jin also agreed with Quinn's words. Kaido frowned. If the three cadres of 683 can handle it, he really doesn't want to make a move. However, there is a guy who appears now, but may be more fearful than Shanks. You don't know him, this guy should be trickier than the red-haired brat. Kaido said with a weird smile. No, it's trickier than red hair. Quinn was slightly incredulous. After all, if he was so capable, there should be 5 sea emperors on the sea. I was almost killed by him twice that year. Kaido continued. As soon as these words came out, not only the people at Beast's Pirates leaked an unbelievable appearance, but even the people at Shanks also showed an unbelievable appearance. No way. Twice. Almost killed Kaido twice. How strong is his strength? If Kaido hadn't come out, I'm afraid we would never know. This seemingly ordinary guy, I didn't expect it to be so terrible. Yup. The three major plagues are not talking, joking, more tricky than Shanks, the character who almost killed Kaido twice, didn't he go up to his death? Quinn turned directly, and within a short while, he took Kaido's weapon and mace. After Kaido took it, he leaked a weird smile. By the way, I forgot to tell you, I'm completely different from before. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Today, let me wash away my shame, Suyu. After all, he held the mace in his hand tightly. And Suyu, still with a calm expression on his face, said, you can't kill me. Then you can try it. Kaido said angrily, and Suyu immediately shouted when he was about to make a move. And many more. Then he looked back again, and said to Shanks, you pull the boat back. Kaido frowned, and just about to take a shot, suddenly there was the sound of tearing the air in the sky. Everyone quickly raised their heads, and a meteorite covering the sky and sun was passing through the atmosphere at an extremely fast speed, and then it fell down. A-hole. Kaido shouted angrily. Don't thank me, I will usually give a gift to someone I haven't seen for many years. Suyu waved his hand and said. Leave it to us, Captain Kaido. The three plagues said in unison, and then quickly began to prepare for the meteorite. Ben Beckman stared at the huge meteorite, and suddenly felt that the chicken legs in his hand were not fragrant. What exactly is this guy's devil fruit ability? I'm also curious. Good guy, he got him down with such a big meteorite. This guy is definitely a monster. Shanks didn't say anything on the side. Indeed, Suyu's performance surprised him a bit. He had an intuition that this person might be better than himself. Go and let the man who controls the boat step back. Got it, boss. Kaido sighed. The three major disasters deal with meteorites, while Kaido deals with Suyu. The huge body leapt up, and the huge ship shook obviously. Suyu, go to hell. Having said that, he directly swung the mace in his hand and slammed Suyu fiercely. Suyu didn't dodge, seeing that its eyes suddenly turned blood red, and Guyu began to spin quickly, and directly advanced to become Mangekyo Sharingan. Immediately afterwards, a Susanoo with only the upper body instantly wrapped Suyu floating in the air, and at the same time quickly attacked and greeted Kaido's mace. Boom. Along with the sound of the distance, a shock wave spread directly in all directions. What followed was that the sea began to roll, and the two ships were hit by the waves and shook violently. What's more, it is incredible that in the atmosphere above Suyu, the sky seems to be shattered by this impact. It looks like a hole in the atmosphere above the impact of the two weapons, and around the hole is a crack in the shape of a spider web on the ground. Cinders of the meteorite were being solved. Seeing this scene, dense beads of sweat appeared on his face. At this moment, he suddenly felt that Jack was really awesome. The boats of this kind of people depend on it if they say they rely, or hit it if they say they fight. If it weren't for Kaido, the Miao would be dead. Zitsa. Around the collision weapon, a black light gleamed. Kaido was a little surprised at the sudden appearance of Susanoo. After all, he had never used this thing when he was fighting Suyu back then. Chapter 203. Over the years, Kaido has not only grown larger, but also his basic strength, Haki, has been greatly improved in physical skills. I thought you were getting bigger. I didn't expect your strength to be much stronger than before, Kaido. Suyu, who stayed inside Susanoo, smiled faintly. Hearing Suyu's words, the expression on Kaido's face of Suyu, who was already annoyed, was even more ugly. His whole body was trembling in anger. However, also, since the Roger era, when has he been so angry? Whether it is the pirate or marine, everyone has to be a little bit thin. UB******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** nervously, and then took back the mace in his hand. Immediately afterwards, he raised again, accompanied by a shout, "Sink for me to the bottom of the sea." Brush. I saw that the weapon in Susanoo's hand was suddenly covered with a layer of black armament hockey, and then hit Guy's mace again. Boom. Following the collision of the weapons again, the waves on the sea rolled more fiercely, like a huge mouth of blood, which may swallow the two thin ships on it at any time. Drink. Accompanied by Kaido's angry roar, the impact directly pushed the entire Susanoo back several to 10 steps. Immediately afterwards, Kaido also landed on his boat again, but he didn't stop and jumped up again directly after landing. Above the air, he directly transformed into a dragon form. Heat. As Kaido's voice fell, he opened his huge mouth, followed by a golden energy ball condensed in his mouth. Call. Kaido spit out directly, and the golden energy ball shot directly at Susanoo. Boom. Above the void, a violent explosion sounded, and thick smoke filled the sky. Boss, are we sure we won't help? Ben Beckman looked at the battle at the moment and asked first. Yeah, although that guy's moves are strange, but I don't seem to feel that he is Kaido's opponent. Even though Kaido said just now that he was almost killed by him, that's what happened in the past. Now after so many years, it's normal to lose. Should I go help? Ben Beckman continued. Shanks was silent for a while, and then refused. No, the battle is only beginning now. We should believe in his strength. He is definitely more than this strength. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On the contrary, Shanks really believes in Suyu's strength. Now it seems a bit tricky. Only they know the real situation. Ding dong. Congratulations to host Mangekyo. The ability run in degree has reached the advanced conditions, whether to advance immediately. Suyu's mind suddenly flashed these words in the center of the smoke and dust. Hearing this, Suyu's heart couldn't help but secretly cheered, and it came a little in time. Advanced. Suyu said quickly. Ding dong, I'm advancing, and I have succeeded in advancing. As the system's voice fell, the patterns on Suyu's eyes began to turn, and when they stopped turning, the patterns on his eyes were already safe from the previous one. Yes, these eyes are no longer Mangekyo Sharingan, but eternal Mangekyo. This also means that at this moment Suyu's Sharingan has no side effects, even if it is used frequently, it will not be blind. Moreover, the consumption level will be reduced a lot. Immediately, a brand new panel popped out. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen, 70%, Rem, 70%, Hashirama, 80%, Wuluki, 70%, Jiraiya, 70%, Tornado, 70%, Wang Yi, 65%, Denisha, 65%, Kongna, 65%, Uchiha Madara, 70%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Scroll, Eternal Mangekyo 0/1000 Madara. Summoning value. 10,250 thousandths. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Under Fire, 1900 2000, Thor, 1036 2000, Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000, Observation Hockey, 1999 2000, Conqueror's Hockey, 1258 2000. Find Flowers. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 10/12. When Suyu's gaze fell on the Eternal Mangekyo, his heart moved slightly, and the running in degree also meant that he could be upgraded, and behind the Eternal Mangekyo is Rinnegan. Tisk tusk, it's really a pleasant surprise. Suyu said, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. At the same time, the smoke in the sky has gradually become thinner. Kaido, who hovered in the sky, frowned when he saw Anyang's unharmed Suyu. Is it just knocking down that weird big guy? But that's okay, now you have nothing to defend against my attack, Suyu. Kaido said in a deep voice. Stopped. Suyu smiled slightly, and then retorted. You said that you are dissatisfied, as long as I don't die, I can make that thing for you. While speaking, a pair of horns grew on Suyu's forehead, and red lines appeared around his eyes. Don't tell me, at a glance, Suyu in this state is still handsome. Horn plus Eternity Mangekyo plus Sage Mode Eyeshadow. Next, I will try my latest trick. At the same time, a blue light directly enveloped Suyu. Slowly, the light began to change, and in the blink of an eye, a huge blue giant with an entity appeared in the sight of everyone. He has a pair of huge wings behind him, holding 2 swords in both hands, and Suyu is standing inside Susanoo's forehead. Yes, this Susanoo is exactly Susanoo. Strictly speaking, this is the real Susanoo. Now Susanoo's body is many times bigger than Kaido. It floats in the air, and its huge body directly blocks the sun's rays. Chapter 204. The appearance of Susanoo made most people feel like a god descending from the earth. On the Shanks ship, due to the rolling sea, the ship was shaking very violently at this time, but even so, their eyes were still fixed on Susanoo. What the hell is this? Well, what a big giant, what exactly is devil fruit he is eating, it is so terrible. Humans. Is this really something humans can do? As expected of the pirate of the old age, it makes me feel so small. This guy is a god. Ben Beckman said with a frown. As for Shanks, he stood aside, raised his head, and did not speak. This was the first time he experienced this oppressive feeling. Once, he felt that even if he did not consume any devil fruit, as long as he worked hard and constantly raised the limits of mankind, he could still easily defeat demon fruit power. Yes, he has taken the risk for so long, and this answer should almost end, but if you encounter Suyu, perhaps, he can be called the real demon fruit power. Shanks was silent for a long time, and finally couldn't help it. Yeah, this man is terrible. As for Beast's pirates, all members have a bad feeling. Where did this thing come from? Quinn swallowed, pretending to be calm. Captain Kaido should be able to take care of this guy, Jin said vaguely. To be honest, he doubted whether his captain could handle it. Crap, nonsense, our captain is one of the 4 emperors on the sea. Jack said shivering. Quinn looked at Jack and frowned slightly. Good fellow, with this expression, I'm afraid he doesn't believe what he said. You guy, blame you, what are you doing by leaning on it? Why don't we just bypass it? Our goal is only Whitebeard. Quinn scolded. Who would have thought that there was a monster on board the red-haired ship? I thought that Captain Kaido was also on the boat, there was no need to be afraid of red-haired at all. Jack explained. Don't quarrel with you two. Let's solve the current problem first. The only good news at the moment is that the red-haired guy doesn't seem to plan to make a move. However, we still have to be vigilant, who knows when that guy will attack us. At the same time, the sky above. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kaido stared at Susanoo. Although he had seen the true number Senju, he was still very surprised when he saw something completely different and huge. How on earth did this guy do it? Kaido said in a deep voice. Suyu standing on Susanoo's forehead slightly raised the corners of his mouth and shouted at Kaido, are you ready for this special gift? A-hole. Kaido yelled and opened his mouth directly. Heat. As soon as the voice fell, the golden flame-like energy ball had already gathered, followed closely, and shot directly from the mouth. Suyu controlled Susanoo with a direct wave of his hand, and bounced the shot energy ball away. Call out. The energy ball bounced and landed on the sea, followed by directly exploding, a huge wave soaring into the sky, and then swallowed in all directions like a tide. At the same time, Suyu controlled Susanoo again, and saw Susanoo holding a huge sword and making a vertical split in the direction of Kaido. As the giant sword fell, a sonic boom sounded directly around it, as if the air had been torn apart. As the great sword was swung, the sea surface under Susanoo's feet completely exploded. A very powerful sword aura rushed towards Kaido. Kaido frowned, his boat behind him, but if he didn't run at this time, he might be hit hard. In an emergency, Kaido still chose to abandon his ship and fled to the side as quickly as possible. And Jack and his party stared at this picking up and flew over, they didn't even have time to react. However, they were lucky. Standing on the edge, the sword chi dropped directly at the center of the ship, and the whole ship was chopped into 2 sides. Immediately afterwards, there was a fierce restlessness on the sea. At this moment, Susanoo's sword energy directly split the sea surface, and a deep ditch appeared in everyone's field of vision. Everyone quickly get ready for the super huge wave. Shanks shouted loudly, and quickly drew out his western sword, ready to face the oncoming noisy super huge wave. Of course, they can also choose not to resist. If they are lucky, they may be able to escape the catastrophe, but the ship will definitely suffer different degrees of damage. Okay, boss, the power of this thing is terrible, it's just an ordinary blow, and it split the sea directly. Ben Beckman muttered while defending the super huge wave. This is simply the power of God. Soon, Shanks and his party were ready to meet the super huge wave, but what they didn't expect was that it was at this moment. A faint light on their faces appeared on the boat, and they floated directly, and stopped when they flew to a height where they could avoid the super huge wave. Tutu. Boss, our ship is flying. One of the men suddenly shouted. Hey, when will our boat fly? Another man asked in surprise. Shanks was stunned, and suddenly 3.6 looked in the direction of Suyu. Suyu waved at him at this time. Obviously, this was telling him that he did it. This is Suyu's devil fruit ability. Shanks quickly explained. When everyone heard the words, it was only then that they remembered that Suyu would also fly, and the big rock in their hearts relaxed. Kaido stared down at the ship that had been swallowed by the huge waves, and his heart trembled slightly. It was because he hadn't been tough, otherwise, it might be him who sank to the bottom of the sea. Chapter 205. I don't know why, but Kaido felt a sense of fear when he first saw Senju. This feeling made his heart uneasy too much. Finally, I heard that the fellow Whitebeard was going to war with Marine. I originally wanted to take advantage of it, but I didn't expect that the advantage was not taken up yet, so I got my own battleship in first. This action was simply a huge loss, and the battleship was only part of it, and the casualties of his crew were just a mystery. Whether it was before or now. Suyu, you guy seems to be born to stop me. Kaido said in a very disgusting tone. Standing inside Susanoo, Suyu heard that there was no turbulence in his emotions, waved his hand, and sneered. Come on, Kaido, don't put gold on your face. Why am I born to stop you? You are not worthy. When Suyu's words came out, Kaido's expression became even more ugly. Soon, he began to attack again. It's almost time for Ace to be executed, and the 12 sides of Marine's lineup have been arranged. This time the Marine Power, Marshal Sengoku, the former Marshal Gang Bone Kong, the 3 Admiral, and the 3 Hidden 5 Elders, etc., etc. As for Garp, he is undoubtedly the hardest thing this time, caught in the middle, in a dilemma. If he helps the pirate, Marine fails. If he helps Marine, then Ace, who he regards as his grandson, will disappear forever. Moreover, currently, Marine has begun to broadcast the execution to the world. In addition, Whitebeard has almost reached the place of execution, and a huge battle is about to begin. New World, an island. Oh, it seems that Marine has put a lot of effort into this execution. Uchiha Madara said lightly, staring directly at the place where Marine was being executed. Gangukong, Sengoku, Garp, the Marines of our generation, plus the 3 Admiral with the highest combat power of naval headquarters, Tusk, what kind of character is the captain of Whitebeard, actually dispatched a lineup like Marine? Senju Hashirama was slightly puzzled. I don't know, if it weren't for the world government to contact us, we didn't know what happened outside. If under normal circumstances, at least 7 or 8 days have passed, we can receive information. Uchiha Madara added. Senju Hashirama slowly picked up a cup of tea on the table, took a sip, and said, it's not important anymore, as long as the guy in the world government doesn't hit us with bad ideas, let them do it. Just as these words fell, there was the sound of undulating footsteps on the corridor outside, and there was a clicking sound after a short while. The door was pushed open. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ram, Tornado, Denisha, Kana, and Wu Luki slowly walked in. As for Wang Yi and Jiraiya, they originally lived here. Long time no see, Hashirama, Madara. Dinasa smiled slightly. After being summoned, Dinasa's personality changed a lot. She is not as cold as before, and her whole person has become much gentler. Of course, when it comes to change, it is undoubtedly the biggest change for Uchiha Madara, who used to have trouble with Senju Hashirama. Now the contradiction is basically gone. Moreover, here, they also create a desire that they did not have in their own world. It's not like Konoha village back then. After Konoha village was established, many people still fear Uchiha Madara. But here, everyone is grateful to Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama, and both of them are heroes worshipped by everyone on this island. Here, once members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group do everything for free. Long time no see, Denisha. Senju Hashirama waved and smiled. What are you looking at? Lem looked at the virtual screen cast by the snail and asked curiously. Recently, Marine heard that a captain under Whitebeard had been arrested, and he is now broadcasting the public execution to the world. Senju Hashirama said slowly. Isn't it? I just caught a captain under Whitebeard's ship, so much trouble. Dinasa asked puzzledly. Who knows, maybe there are other secrets, otherwise, with the urinary nature of the world government, it shouldn't be such a fuss. Uchiha Madara guessed. That's it. Hearing this, Lame wasn't very interested in whether there was any secret. On the island where you like to live, stay here for a while now. When it's safe, you can go out and play. Senju Hashirama changed the subject very interestingly. After all, if you are talking about the world of pirates, many people will think of it. Suyu is up. Thank you. Ram and his party said in unison. Thank you. Remember, this island is our home. Senju Hashirama said 683 with a smile. Even if Suyu is gone, the good thing is that there is no contradiction in their relationship, but they get along very well. About an hour later, New World, on the sea. Kaido's battle with Suyu continues. Accompanied by the sword and the shadow, Kaido's dragon form has 2 more long wounds, and the blood drips down his body and falls on the rough sea. It's over Kaido. Suyu controlled Susanoo and flew towards Kaido quickly, and Kaido quickly flew away after realizing that something was wrong. After tens of minutes of chasing, Suyu directly shot Kaido down the sea. Just when he wanted to fly again, Suyu made another shot. A light blade flew directly down, and the sea surface immediately exploded. Staring at the exploding sea, Suyu's mouth raised slightly and muttered, this should be regarded as a dragon slasher. Chapter 206. After the explosion subsided, Suyu stared directly at the surrounding sea, but there was no movement on the sea. Where did you go? Suyu muttered, and then sensed the surroundings, but still didn't find Kaido's breath. Could it be that you fainted and sank to the bottom of the sea? Suyu guessed. Of course, this is also possible. After all, not everyone is Suyu. Having a system can get immune seawater and seastone and other plugins. While waiting, Suyu recovered his entire body Susanoo, and the sea began to slowly return to calm, but apart from some of the wreckage of the ship, he did not see Kaido. However, Suyu didn't care too much about whether Kaido sank to the bottom of the sea or escaped. After all, after this battle, Suyu can deal with him too many methods. Although he has become stronger than he has been, there is nothing wrong with that, but Suyu is the same, and his increase is faster, and there is no upper limit. Looking at the Shanks ship floating in the sky not far away, Suyu used superpowers to make Shanks ship slowly descend with his mind. When descending to a certain height, Suyu directly disarmed his superpowers, and the whole ship landed directly on the sea, followed by a violent swing. Hey, it's too violent. He didn't let him down directly from the height just now, so thank you. If it is lowered from the previous height, Tusk, I think our boat may be damaged in some way. While speaking, Suyu had already floated over, but instead of landing, he floated on the void. After all, he was only here to say goodbye. Suyu, I have always had a big doubt before, what kind of devil fruit you are eating, this ability is too abnormal. Ben Beckman asked aloud. Yeah, it's a shame that I'm not from Kaido. Otherwise, it's still alive or dead, I don't know yet. But, having said that, did you defeat that guy Kaido? Or escaped? Facing the bragging and questioning, Suyu sighed lightly, and then scribbled Kaido, the devil fruit I eat. Guess, as for Kaido, it's not clear whether that guy ran away or sank into the bottom of the sea. I couldn't perceive it. When I see you, I feel that this is the real demon fruit power. This ability is terrifying, a member of Shanks's crew said plausibly. Suyu gave him a white look, and then said lightly, come on, you should pat your captain's flattery more, don't eat this set. Ha. There was a burst of laughter on the boat. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. At this time, Shanks also came over. At this time, we may not be able to arrive at Marineford on time. Hearing what Shanks said, Suyu smiled faintly, and then calmly said, you are not me, and I can still catch up. Hey, Suyu, don't you come with us? Ben Beckman asked. Forget it, don't you have any idea about the speed of your ship? Take your boat and go to Marin Vatican. It is estimated that you can only collect the corpses. After all, I have agreed to some of Edward's requests. Suyu said then, one side began to rise slowly. All right, we will meet again soon, Shanks said. Suyu just smiled, did not answer, and then flew away quickly. Is this the pirate giant of the old age? Tisk, how long it took even Kaido to be defeated directly, it is terrible. Ben Beckman said slowly. Shanks on the side leaked a smile. Okay, in this way, Ace will definitely be saved safely. Whitebeard, I was still worried about you, now it seems unnecessary. You have found such a great helper. Then, boss, shall we go to Marineford? A member asked. Shanks looked at him, and then leaked a smile again. Why, this is a very difficult battle. Wouldn't it be a pity if you don't go? Marines lineup alone, plus the Shanghai Pirates lineup, this battle is enough to shock the world. While flying, Suyu opened his own property panel. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen, 70%, Rem, 70%, Hashirama, 80%, Wuluki, 70%, Jiraiya, 70%, Tornado, 70%, Wang Yi, 65%, Denisha, 65%, Kongna, 65%, Uchiha Madara, 70%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Scroll, Eternal Mangekyo 861,000, Madara. Summoning value. 10,250,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Underfire, 1900 2000, Thor, 1036 2000, Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000, Observation Hockey, 1999 2000, Conqueror's Hockey, 1258 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 10/12. When his gaze swept over the Eternal Mangekyo, Suyu's heart trembled slightly. Quote. Diaresis unexpectedly, just using a fully integrated Susanoo will improve the running in of Eternal Mangekyo so much. After more use, it is estimated that you will be able to continue to advance. Suyu murmured, then closed the attribute panel, and rushed to the destination of Wangqianzhou at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, Marineford. Ace has been escorted to the execution platform, and Sengoku is standing on the execution platform, revealing Ace's true identity to the world. When he had Roger's demon blood, everyone who was watching the live broadcast was shocked. Tusk. No wonder, for such a big battle, it turns out that Roger's son was caught. Uchiha Madara sneered. He is just a child. The methods of the world government are really ruthless. Senju Hashirama calmly said. It is estimated, he is afraid that this child will become a character like Roger in the future, but it is really miserable. Roger was also executed, Senju Hashirama said lightly. Chapter 207. Listening to Senju Hashirama's words, Uchiha Madara on the side smiled faintly and said calmly, although the result is the same, the nature inside is quite different. Back then, Roger was arrested voluntarily, and he has already gained fame, fortune, and wealth, but now this young man is just the beginning. However, when a pirate is not strong enough, there is always a price to pay. Senju Hashirama nodded in agreement and continued. The marine lineup, I guess Whitebeard is still more or less tricky. Okay. Uchiha Madara nodded, then turned and left. Where are you going? Walking outside, is it possible to watch this boring live broadcast campaign with you? Compared to watching others fighting, Uchiha Madara still finds fighting by himself more interesting. Okay. Senju Hashirama nodded, and then continued to cast his gaze back on the projection. Not long after, Naval Headquarters, Marineford. The densely packed Marines stood in the harbor. They held spears, 687 and sharp blades in their hands. The surroundings were considered quiet. Except for Sengoku's speech, there was no other noise. However, Even so, their hearts are still uneasy. Also, although Marine has dispatched 3 admiral and veterans this time, they are not ordinary people this time. It is a Whitebeard who has the title of the strongest man in the world, and the entire Whitebeard pirate group plus other pirate groups that have joined. Marine's lineup is good, but Whitebeard's side is not bad. How can their hearts not worry? And behind them, there are many giant Marines standing. They are all from the giant clan. The official position is big or small, and the strength is a little bit more or less. At the back point, it is the position where the 3 admiral is sitting, and in the far direction to the side of admiral, the one standing is 7 warlords of the sea. Mihawk, Gecko Moria, Doflamingo, Hancock, etc. In the center direction, the top one was naturally the execution platform where Ace was executed. He was kneeling on the execution platform with an unusually ugly expression. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. On the side, Sengoku was constantly exposing everything about Ace. In this way, not long after, the Whitebeard pirates joined the pirates and sailed directly from the sea. As for the Whitebeard pirates, they already know the meaning of the Marine gang, so they directly coded from the bottom of the sea. When Whitebeard's ship emerged from the bottom of the sea, everyone in Marine was surprised. They had been engaged in battle for a long time, but they weren't used, so Whitebeard got so close. Tatata. Whitebeard took a heavy step and walked to the front of the ship, holding the naginata that he had been born to death in his hand, and Kong Yun-Kut. He glanced at the countless Marine in front of him, and finally fell on Sengoku's body, the highest execution platform. Sengoku, we must have been gone for decades. Whitebeard. Sengoku frowned when he saw Whitebeard. My dear son is all right. With the appearance of Whitebeard's words, all the Marine spirit began to tighten. It is conceivable that Whitebeard's influence is huge. Sengoku's gaze quickly shifted from Whitebeard's body, and he kept scanning his surroundings. After a while, he breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, he did not see Suyu, which means that this time, Suyu did not join forces with Whitebeard. As a result, in this battle, their Marine has a better chance of winning. Of course, some people are happy and others are worried. Garp is a typical example. Without Suyu, Ace's fate cannot be guaranteed in vain. Are you disappointed? That man didn't come. The crane on the side seemed to see Garp's careful thoughts, looked directly at Garp, and said. Garp didn't dare to look at Crane's gaze. After all, if he kept watching, all his thoughts would be exposed. Even if you don't say, Garp, what you are thinking, I can guess it, because we were born to death all the time. No one knows you better than me and Sengoku. He said calmly. Garp's face became more and more ugly. After a few seconds of silence, he said in a low voice, come on, I know what you want to say, you can treat me like air. Gar. This time, you have no choice. His identity has been exposed by Sengoku. He must end here, otherwise, this will be our Marine cocoon. He said plausibly. Indeed, as Crane said, the identity of Ace as the son of One Piece Roger has been exposed to the world. Roger's influence back then is clear to both the older generation and the new generation. If Ace's life does not end here, it will result in a lot of world government's franchise, and the people will be worried, because they don't know when, like his father, Ace will become a vicious pirate in the world government's mouth. What you said, wouldn't I be clear about it? Garp's tone gradually became colder. So, Garp, please face reality. Since Ace was a Shanghai thief, you should have thought that one day there will be such a result. Hearing this, Garp didn't speak, and looked directly at Whitebeard in the distance. In his eyes, except for helplessness, he was still helpless. At the same time, in a hidden place that was not broadcast live, the 3 elders were watching everything on the battlefield. As Whitebeard on stage, it's not surprising that Whitebeard is on the stage, it's just a matter of time. That's right, but that man doesn't seem to be in alliance with Whitebeard. That said, this trip, are we here for nothing? Not necessarily, the battle has just begun. I have a hunch that he will come. How do you say Firefist Ace is also Roger's son, and he and Roger can be regarded as friendly people, so I think he will come. Help Whitebeard rescue Roger, the only son. It's hard to say that after so many years, people's hearts will change. For example, Charlotte Linlin, Kaido, Whitebeard, the 3 of them were once members of Locks, and now they meet and fight without saying a word. Chapter 208. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free, even as you said, but we are all here, just waiting for the battle to be over, before returning to the Holy Land Mary Geois. The old man sitting in the middle slowly raised his teacup. Tasted tea. Of course, if Suyu didn't show up, the 3 of them wouldn't take any shots, unless Marine came to life and death. Yes, if he doesn't come, let us appreciate this rare battle. At the same time, the frontal battlefield. Basically, most of Marine's faces are extremely ugly, but as for the pirates, they all have a smile on their faces. It seems that they have already seen the results of this battle. Wait for me, Ace. Whitebeard said, the corners of his mouth raised slightly, although the voice is not loud, but most people can hear it. Hearing this, Ace's face changed drastically. Of course, at first he thought that Whitebeard would not take risks for him, but he didn't expect that Whitebeard led the pirate group and even all the pirates who joined the group came. Of course, even if Whitebeard didn't come, he wouldn't blame Whitebeard. After all, saving himself was too risky, and it might even cost more lives. Father. Ace finally couldn't help it at this moment, and shouted in tears. Hearing this old man, Whitebeard leaked a gratified smile. Of course, if the current conditions didn't allow him, he really wanted to ask Ace whether his old man was qualified. When Whitebeard stuck the naginata directly on the ground, then made a gesture, followed by a quick swipe. Crack. As Whitebeard shook his fist, something like a glass barrier appeared around him, which quickly cracked. At the same time, the surface of the sea began to surging, followed by the sea like smoke, directly rising. The height has completely covered the entire execution ground. If you continue to develop in this way, within a short while, Whitebeard can use Shock Fruit's ability to allow the tsunami to directly swallow the entire Malin Bando. But, at this moment, the height of the water is still growing. Oops, if we continue like this, we will all be swallowed by the sea. Is this one of the 4 emperors, Whitebeard's abilities? It's terrible. The marine soldier began to talk. Seeing such a formation, the momentum on Whitebeard's side suddenly rose, and many people began to shout loudly. Seeing the 3 admiral in this scene, his face was naturally not much better. It's really uncomfortable. If we don't do anything, we marine will definitely suffer a serious loss from Whitebeard's strike. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. While speaking, the ground has begun to vibrate violently, and the huge waves have begun to pounce. Seeing that the people above are about to be swallowed directly, most of them are basically in panic. At this moment, Aokiji, one of the 3 admirals, jumped up in the air in an instant. Ice Age. As the voice fell, Aokiji stretched out his hands, and the ice thorns began to release from his palms. When the ice thorns hit the sea, the sound of ka-ka-ka was heard. Yes, the huge wave that came in was directly frozen by the ice. 2. Great, the sea is frozen. A certain marine soldier was so frightened by this battle that he was breathing very irritably. No, as expected of Admiral, he blocked Whitebeard's attack with a single blow. Finally, saved. Seeing this scene, Whitebeard frowned slightly and said lightly, Aokiji, you kid. Aokiji looked at Whitebeard, then stretched out in the sky, and suddenly several spears formed by ice appeared. Immediately afterwards, the next moment, he shot directly at Whitebeard. Whitebeard was still expressionless. Facing this kind of attack, he shook his fist again. Crack. Just like before, the glass barrier appeared out of thin air to crack, and the ice spear shot over in the next second shattered directly. Seeing this scene, Aokiji's reaction speed is also very fast, quickly using elementalization, directly into a pile of ice. It fell directly into the sea, but when it fell on the surface, the surrounding sea water quickly became ice blocks, and even directly froze Whitebeard's boat. Yes, he blocked Whitebeard's escape route. However, because of this building, the battle started completely, and Marine began to bombard with artillery shells. The pirates rushed off the boat one after another, holding all kinds of weapons in their hands. In a short while, countless cannonballs fell from the sky, and the ground was filled with smoke. Find flowers. The sound of weapon collisions continued, and Marine and the pirate fell one by one on the cold ground and onto the icy sea. The blood flowing out of the body began to flow down the low-lying place, and it didn't take a while. The blood on the seaside that was not frozen directly became red. As for the pirate groups who joined the Whitebeard pirate group, they also began to approach the icy place from the outside, and quickly began to disembark and prepare for battle. The battle had lasted for a few minutes, and at the same time, a figure in the sky was leaning against Whitebeard's ship. And this person, not Marine, nor any other pirate, but Suyu, he arrived. Suyu gazed at the battlefield that had already started, and muttered, I finally arrived, thanks to not being in Shanks's boat. Otherwise, I can only come and see the corpse. Of course, Suyu must be much faster than Whitebeard. After all, he passed directly through the Holy Land Mary Geois. The group of Whitebeard came from the bottom of the sea. Call out. After a short while, Suyu fell directly next to Whitebeard. Whitebeard glanced at Suyu and then laughed. Oh, it's very fast, what did you do with Kaido? Well, that's it. Suyu nodded. However, when Suyu fell by Whitebeard's side, those veterans frowned, and even dense beads of sweat began to condense on their foreheads. Then, that guy, he's here. Sengoku said, his face was ugly. Ace on the side looked at Sengoku, and then looked at the young man next to his father. His mind suddenly became a little confused. He was very curious. The moment his father came just now, Sengoku's face was not so ugly, but when the young man fell by his father's side, Sengoku not only had an ugly face, but even sweat on his forehead. Who the hell is this guy? This thought suddenly flashed through Ace's mind. Chapter 209. The Third Ascent. At this moment, Sengoku wasn't the only one with an ugly face. Anyone who knew Suyu's expression on Marine couldn't see it anymore. Of course, this time is a special situation, except for Garp. The appearance of Suyu made him secretly happy. After all, when he comes, it means that Ace's possibility of leaving here alive has increased a lot. Call. He wrinkled his head, looked away from Suyu, then closed his eyes and pressed his temples with both hands. He has always been here, but what is incredible is that he is really the same as the intelligence, and he is still the young look of the year. He sighed heavily. Garp stood by, just watching quietly, without speaking. Seeing that Garp didn't speak, he opened his eyes slightly, and looked at Garp. You old fellow, don't you think it's fun? What are you talking about, old man, don't you understand? Garp retorted. It's because I understand it too well. If I guess, if you're a few decades younger, you're probably going to fight with him now. He continued. Call. Garp sighed and continued. Compared to this, let's think about how to deal with him. After all, he is here, and things are a lot more complicated than before. Don't worry, all this is just the same as the original budget. 3. At Admiral's position, the moment Kizaru saw Suyu, his face was obviously not as relaxed as before. This guy, as expected by Mr. Sengoku, was involved in Whitebeard's affairs. Kizaru murmured. Akainu's expression on the side didn't change much. He glanced at Kizaru. Why, he is the man who has existed since the old days that Sengoku said. Hearing this, Kizaru also glanced at Akainu, and then smiled faintly. Yes, he is the man Mr. Sengoku told us to pay attention to, Suyu. Humph. Akainu folded her hands on her chest and said disdainfully. No matter how you look at it, you are a childish appearance. I can't believe that you will be defeated by that kind of guy. Don't be deceived by his appearance. He is from the same age as Whitebeard. I don't think you haven't heard from Mr. Sengoku. That guy seems to have the power of immortality. Kizaru replied. Don't be kidding. What immortality does not change? It is 100% possible that it is because of devil fruit. Akainu retorted. Kizaru was silent for a few seconds, feeling that there was no need to argue with Akainu about this silly topic, so he smiled and waved his hand. Well, you say yes, that's it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. That guy, who is it that came here? A certain marine soldier said solemnly. No, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but it should be someone from Whitebeard, and he seems to be familiar with Whitebeard. It should be the Whitebeard pirates who joined the pirates, but I think it should not be very strong. After all, we have never heard of it. It can fly, probably because of the consumption of devil fruit. Listening to what you said, it seems to be true. There is no more person than him, and no more person than him. The marine soldier here casually discussed the topic, and ended, and then returned his attention to the battlefield. If some veterans were here and heard them discussing Suyu like this, they would just yell at them. Why is there no more than one, and no less than one? That guy has the strength of the 4 emperors level. Of course, let alone the marine side, even the Whitebeard pirates who joined the pirates, basically don't know Suyu. The only ones who know are the members of the Whitebeard pirates. At the same time, because the entire battlefield was in a live broadcast state, Suyu suddenly fell beside Whitebeard and was naturally broadcast live. New world, on an island. The cup in Senju Hashirama's hand began to tremble. Of course, this was not some other fear factor, but simply because of excitement. Although the picture is clear for only 10 seconds, it is enough for Senju Hashirama to recognize it completely. You guy, finally, are you back at last? You left without a sound in the past, and now you come back without a sound. You are really an unqualified captain. Senju Hashirama sighed and said. Soon, he summoned his assistant, and then asked Lem and the others to assemble as quickly as possible. After assigning the task, he was not idle, and directly dialed a number on the phone worm. After a while, it was connected over there. Hashirama, what's the matter? Suyu is back. Senju Hashirama stammered a bit because of excitement. What? Aizen heard the news, and her eyes, which had been godless, finally lit up at this moment. Yes, Suyu is back. I'm going over right now. Aizen just wanted to hang up the phone bug, Senju Hashirama said quickly. He's not with me, but anyway, you can fly over and gather with us. The ships of the Super Dimension Pirate Group are still kept on my island. Aizen was silent for a few seconds. Well, wait a moment. I will be there as quickly as possible. Since Suyu disappeared that year, the pirate ship that had been used has not been destroyed, but has been preserved. After Aizen's modification, they have added many things to the base of the ship. That simple ship back then has now become a super warship. Of course, the power of this ship is no less than that of the Pluto, the 3 ancient weapons. Rather, in this world, the only ship that can produce such power is Aizen. Naval Headquarters, Malin Vander. 3.6 inches Suyu, I didn't expect you to arrive so soon. Marco shouted with a smile behind him, and walked to Whitebeard's side. Of course, the other captains of the Whitebeard pirate group followed. It's okay, I just took a shortcut, so naturally it's a lot faster than you. Suyu said lightly, then glanced at the battlefield in front of him, and then leaked a smile. It seems that this time Marine's lineup can be said to be straightforward, and everything that can be used is used. Gu la 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 la. Of course, even the former marshal, Gangukong, participated in this battle. Whitebeard laughed. Chapter 210. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Tisk tusk tusk. Suyu curled his lips and shook his head, and then said jokingly, as expected, he is known as the strongest man in the world. World government really gives you enough face. Of course, what Suyu didn't know was that the reason why Gangukong came here was to deal with himself. Humph. Whitebeard looked disdainful, and then said, if I was a few decades younger, how would I be afraid of this lineup? Come on, no one can escape the sanction of time. Suyu waved his hand. You are not the one. Suyu smiled without explaining too much. Well, you said that's it. At the same time, Marine's morale rose suddenly. Yes, the 7 warlords of the sea, who claims to go its own way and has not been beaten, has the man known as the world's most powerful swordsman, Hawkeye Mihawk is about to make a move. Of course, that's just the Marines' self-righteousness, and Mihawk's meaning is that they just want to test the gap between these people and the man who is known as the strongest man in the world. Crack. Mihawk pulled out the Black Sword Knight. At this moment, Marine's morale rose again. The world's 12 most powerful swordsmen are about to make a move. His goal is the strongest man in the world. Even so, in the face of the world's strongest swordsman, Whitebeard can't ignore it. It's great. If 7 warlords of the sea are all done, then Marine's odds of winning will be greatly improved. Drink. When I hear you, I suddenly feel full of power in my whole body. I feel like I can hit 10 one by one. Mihawk held the Black Sword Knight in both hands and stared sharply at Whitebeard. The next moment, he raised his weapon and slashed directly. Suddenly, a green sword flew at the location of Whitebeard at an extremely fast speed. Wherever it passed, a huge crack broke directly on the ground. Whitebeard witnessed this situation, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. In fact, Suyu wanted to learn about the swordsmanship of the world's most powerful swordsman. Just in time, Whitebeard was ahead of schedule, so he went straight ahead. Lend me your weapon for a use. Gum la 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 la. I know your hands are itchy. Whitebeard said, directly handing the Kong Yun on the side to Suyu. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After receiving Kong Yunchi, Suyu directly began to wave, and finally jumped up, directly raised Kong Yun and cut a vertical split. Accompanied by a crisp, soft chirping sound, a blue sword pressure was released and slammed toward the oncoming green sword. Boom. With a loud noise, the two swords slammed into each other, and the ground around the few rods shook directly. In the end, a big hole was directly exploded in place. No, that guy who flew from the sky, so easily defended against the attack of the world's #1 swordsman. Who is that guy? If the bounty is higher, we can basically recognize it at a glance. Unbelievable, that was the move of the world's most powerful swordsman. He actually offset it with a straight chopping. The point is, Whitebeard even lent him his weapon. As you can imagine, he has an unusual relationship with Whitebeard. That guy's swordsmanship is also very superb. Of course, these Marine soldiers were not the only ones who were shocked, and even Mihawk frowned slightly. He never expected that this young man would release such a powerful sword pressure attack just like himself. Obviously, at this moment, Mihawk became extremely interested in Suyu. Yes, Shanks was his best friend for many years, and they often learned swordsmanship, but since Shanks broke his arm, he no longer competes with Shanks. From then on, he always felt that his life seemed to be missing. Now, the appearance of Suyu may be his second man to learn swordsmanship. It seems that your attack was blocked by someone who seems to be also superb in swordsmanship. Doflamingo put his hands in his pockets, leaking a wicked smile. Mihawk Yu Guang glanced at Doflamingo, and then faintly said, whether he is a person with superb swordsmanship, it seems too early to make a conclusion. Ha ha ha. Doflamingo sneered, and didn't answer much. On the other side, the 3 old men are staring at Suyu quietly in the dark. He really came. Never let him leave here alive. Shall we shoot now? With the fall of this voice, the old man in the middle shook his head and said, we can't be so reckless, you know, our original 5 elders became the current 3 elder stars because of recklessness. On the contrary, through Marine's power, not only can he consume him, but also through battles, you can get a general understanding of him. It is a good thing not to shoot so quickly. The old man on the side opened his mouth. Where is Whitebeard? The old man on the right said. What Whitebeard said is not the point this time. Even if he rescues Ace, our goal is only one, and that is Suyu. Yes, I think so too. Whitebeard has run out of oil, and if Suyu doesn't solve it, I believe it will not be long before his 687 achievements will surpass Roger, and even world government. Well, according to what you said, all the focus is on Suyu. Edward, Tisk, there is a saying, your weapon is really not easy to handle. Suyu muttered, cutting the cloud in his hand back to Whitebeard who was aside. Goo la 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 la. Whitebeard laughed loudly, and didn't talk about weapons with him. Instead, he said, it seems that not only is the person not old, but his skills are not rusty. Your shot, I can clearly feel that Marine's morale was directly cut by you just now. Marco said from the side. I really didn't expect your swordsmanship to be so superb. Joe's also boasted from the side. Okay, slap your dad's flattery more. Suyu chuckled lightly. We are not really flattering, we are telling the truth from the heart. Marco quickly explained. At the same time, something unexpected happened to both Admiral and Sengoku. Mihawk took the initiative this time, and was rushing in the direction of Whitebeard. Chapter 211. Oh, Daddy, the guy Mihawk ran towards us. Joe suddenly said from the side. Suyu and Whitebeard, who were talking about this, looked at them one after another. Sure enough, as Joe said, Mihawk was holding a black sword in his hand, and he was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. This guy Mihawk probably came to you. Whitebeard said calmly. Okay. Suyu glanced at Whitebeard slightly in surprise, and then smiled lightly. Don't talk, what does it have to do with me? This is your battle between Whitebeard and Marine. Goo la la la. Whitebeard laughed, and then quickly retracted his smile, and said seriously, that kid is probably interested in your swordsmanship. If I didn't guess wrong, he rushed over to find you to learn swordsmanship. That's right, the blow just now was the one of the world's #1 swordsman at any rate, you took it easily, and he naturally became interested in you. Marco also explained to the side. Suyu didn't speak, and watched Mihawk approaching quietly. After a while, he landed and stood not far from Whitebeard's boat. Of course, he wasn't so stupid. If he came directly, Whitebeard might have attacked him directly. Learn about swordsmanship with me, the man next to Whitebeard. Mihawk looked straight at Suyu and said calmly. Since Shanks broke his arm, he has never played a sweaty match up, so he hopes that Suyu's swordsmanship is strong, and he also hopes that Suyu can compete with him. Before Suyu could speak, Whitebeard on the side said, Suyu, anyway, if you are free now, go and discuss with these new era kids, let him feel the horror of the pirates of the old era. Are there any better weapons? Suyu asked Marco and them. What type do you want? Long sword, I'm not used to the others. As soon as Suyu's words fell, a long sword was thrown up behind the ship. Use me. After Suyu took it, he pulled out the scabbard and waved it twice, muttering, well, it feels pretty good. After learning about swordsmanship with Mihawk, Suyu can basically estimate how his current swordsmanship is. Of course, he used to get a swordsmanship experience package with the help of the system. He didn't use swordsmanship much before, but that doesn't mean he didn't know how to use it. Suyu disappeared immediately, leaving only the scabbard falling to the ground, but it was the moment the scabbard fell to the ground. Not far away, there was a sound directly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Suyu's long sword has collided with Mihawk's black sword. Suddenly, a strong air current began to be generated, and began to spread in all directions. A few drops of sweat began to appear on Mihawk's forehead. Of course, at this moment, his heart was very excited, because, after so many years, he found another man who could learn swordsmanship with him. Your swordsmanship is as strong as I thought. Mihawk praised. Suyu just raised the corners of his mouth slightly, did not answer his words, and then started fighting intently. Of course, in this process, Suyu will not use his other abilities, because he is just learning swordsmanship with Mihawk. If you want to defeat him, you don't need to be so troublesome and just go straight to the talent. Bang, bang, bang. Between the electric light and flint, the two of them interspersed back and forth on the battlefield. At present, it is difficult for the two of them to see who has the upper hand and who has the disadvantage. Father, this friend of yours hides too deeply, and swordsmanship does not seem to be weaker than Mihawk Hawkeye in this respect. Marco kept catching Suyu and Mihawk's movements. As soon as the voice fell, Whitebeard's mouth rose slightly. That guy used to be the one who defeated my captain. What? When Whitebeard said this, Marco, Joes and the other captains were shocked. Father, who is your captain? Yeah, I never heard of you and a captain. It must be very tyrannical to be the captain of the old man. Of course, before Roger's era, that guy was the overlord of the sea. It was not Roger's crew who contributed the most to Roger's era, but his Suyu. Whitebeard said in a deep voice. Indeed, if Locks did not die, Roger's era would not have come so quickly, and his achievements would definitely be much higher. Guru. Everyone swallowed. Yes, this news is too big. Unexpectedly, he still has so much honor. Diaresis, this man is too mysterious. Goo la la la. At this time, Whitebeard laughed again, and then added, if he hadn't disappeared back then this sea will lead to a different result. At the same time, New World, a huge battleship in the sky, was flying fast. Yes, this is a pirate ship, and the logo of the pirate flag is the Super Dimension Pirate Group, but the pirate flag, which can be recognized, will be known to the people of the old age. At this speed, it doesn't take long for them to reach naval headquarters, Marineford. Suyu, is he finally back? At this moment, I don't know why, Lem's mood was a little uneasy. Yes, he disappeared silently back then, and now he appears silently again. I really hope he is the same him. Ram added. Don't wrinkle your faces, Wong Nuos, you too, today is an exciting day, because our captain is back. Jiraiya said with a smile. That's right, you can't let the captain see you sad at first sight. Wu Luki added from the side. Come on, what do you men know? Tornado floated over and said. I've decided, if he doesn't give us a reasonable explanation, then I won't cook for him. Rem said angrily. Of course, this is nothing but her angry words. How long do we need? Dinasa asked Aizen. Wait, it won't be long. Chapter 212. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. The battle between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine almost rose to a level again, and the scene was getting more and more chaotic. There were countless corpses lying on the ground, including Marine and pirates, whose blood stained the ground. After solving the tsunami caused by Whitebeard, Aokiji sat back on the chair he was sitting on. Now, none of the three admiral shots, their eyes quietly looking at the battlefield below. It seems that the man that Sengoku guy called us to pay attention to, indeed has some ability. It can be inextricably beaten with the world's most powerful swordsman. Akainu watched the battle between Suyu and Mihawk for a moment, and exclaimed. However, Kizaru and Aokiji on the side ignored him at all, pretending not to hear. Seeing that Akainu didn't respond, Yu Guang glanced at the two of them, didn't say anything, and slowly got up. Oh, can't you sit still? Kizaru said, seeing Akainu get up, with a wretched look on his face. Akainu glanced at him with disdain, did not answer, followed the diameter of a jump, jumped down 690, and finally stepped slowly into the battlefield. Very scary. Aokiji looked at Kizaru, and then asked faintly, did you really be defeated by that guy? Kizaru laughed at the words, and joked, why, do you think it's worthwhile for an admiral to ruin his reputation and increase the reputation of others? Not really, just pure curiosity. Don't be silly, the side he showed now is just a simple one. When you fight him, especially when he wants to hit you, you will see an endless abyss. Kizaru advised him. Of course, he hoped that Aokiji would not die. In order to prove his inner guess, he would challenge Suyu. There are really rare people who can praise you so much. Kizaru smiled slightly, but didn't think there was anything. Moreover, the last time he fought with Suyu, he already clearly felt the terrible thing about Suyu. He had a different way of fighting from everyone else, with strange moves and strange powers. Look ahead. At this moment, Kizaru changed the subject and stretched out his hand to point forward. Aokiji looked over, and the direction Kizaru was pointing was really the direction Suyu and Mihawk were duel. On the other hand, Akainu walked slowly. Obviously, if he follows his fastest speed, he will arrive soon. But now he walks slowly with a clear goal. He wants to find a good time to sneak attack. Suyu. Of course, Akainu doesn't care what is mean or not. His purpose was clear from the beginning. No matter what the price, Marine must win this battle between the Whitebeard pirates and Marine. What's wrong? It's normal, he just wants to prove what kind of man is the guy who can beat you. Aokiji said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kizaru smiled and waved his hand, and said, no, I am not asking you to watch this, but to let you pay attention to what he looks like later. Aokiji curled his mouth and shook his head, and cast his eyes on Akainu. Dang dang dang. Layers of shock did not occur continuously, and Mihawk was very excited now, because he finally found a man who could replace Shanks and learn swordsmanship with him. It's really surprising. I didn't expect the Whitebeard pirates to hide a man with such a superb swordsmanship. Mihawk praised Suyu as he attacked. Under the Whitebeard pirate group. I'm sorry, I disappointed you. I was just that Edward who called to help. Suyu said. The long sword was covered with a layer of black gas, and then he swung it quickly. Out. Dang. A cry. Mihawk flew directly upside down, but he adjusted his state quickly, and in just a second, he rushed to Suyu again. In the next second, the two weapons collided again. Boom. The impact directly shattered the ground behind the two of them, followed by blowing directly away. The two squeezed slightly again, and centered on the two of them, the ground shattered again, and their bodies sank a little again. Crack. Suddenly, at this moment, the long sword that Suyu was holding broke open. Mihawk was very fascinated to see this scene, retracted the black sword and jumped back to a safe distance, and then put his black sword back on his back. Your sword is cracked. Hey, I didn't expect this sword to withstand such fierce attacks continuously. It's a pity. Suyu smiled faintly, but didn't take it too seriously. My name is Dracula Mihawk. Suyu heard the words, glanced at him, and replied sloppily, Suyu. I remember, this unfinished competition will continue in the future. Mihawk said slowly. With his personality, naturally he wouldn't take advantage of Suyu's sword to be broken and take advantage of it. It must be cheap. All he wants is an absolutely fair swordsmanship competition, and sometimes a fun competition. His nature has already surpassed winning or losing. Okay, I'll talk about it later. Suyu waved his hand, then looked at the broken but not broken long sword, and sighed slightly. Call. Suddenly at this moment, a magma ball flew directly towards Suyu. Out of instinctive reaction, Suyu directly covered armament hockey on the blade again, and then slammed it. Boom. A sound. The fireball was directly bounced away, but at the same time, armament hockey disappeared from the sword, and the sword broke. Suyu was startled slightly and looked not far away. Akainu's appearance was reflected in his eyes. Akainu. Mihawk, you fellow, do you want to rebel? There is a chance to take it down, but did you stop it? While talking, Akainu was already close to Suyu. Facing Akainu's words, Mihawk's expression did not fluctuate at all, and he saw him calmly saying, I have no chance to win. After that, he didn't pay attention to Akainu and turned to leave. Akainu looked at his back, frowning slightly. You guy. You broke someone else's sword, how can I return it like this? Suyu spoke to Akainu first. Chapter 213. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Seeing that some people in the comment area suggested that the author accept local ones, the author will consider it. If you have a good candidate, you can mention it. After hearing Suyu's words, Akainu fixed his gaze on him, and then frowned. You guy is crazy, why are you going back and it has nothing to do with me? Akainu retorted. The corner of Suyu's mouth rose slightly, and then he left only half of the long sword on the ground, and said lightly, you look like this, it really makes people feel uncomfortable. Originally, Suyu didn't want to take care of Akainu. After all, he just came to cheer on Whitebeard. As for Mihawk, it was because Suyu wanted to test his swordsmanship. But, now, seeing Akainu's under-fighting appearance, Suyu changed his attention. Those guys say you are an old monster. Today, I want to see if it is really what they say. Akainu said, clenching his fist tightly. Guru Guru. In the next moment, his fist turned directly into lava. Obviously, this was his Logia, rock, berry ability. It can turn body parts into hot lava, and it is extremely powerful. The scorching river fire can instantly evaporate the ice blocks larger than the giants, even melt the stratum. Once the human body is hit in the internal organs and the body will cause severe burns, it is a very powerful fruit belonging to Logia, and it has a restrained relationship with Mara Mara fruit. Old monster. Strictly speaking, I am younger than you. Suyu smiled slightly. Indeed, Suyu only came here after a few decades, not by himself. It doesn't matter, Akainu said, raising her arm braving the lava, and then directly waved at Suyu. Immediately, the lava arm turned into a dog shape and flew directly to Suyu. Although the distance was very close, Suyu was not in a hurry. He saw a blue flame gradually emerging from his body, and then he also threw a punch. A group of dragon-headed blue flames flew directly from Suyu's hand and directly slammed into Akainu's attack. Boom, accompanied by a loud noise. The center of the collision exploded directly, a powerful airflow began to emerge, and thick billowing smoke began to slowly rise. However, at this moment, Akainu leaked a weird smile. Yes, he already knew that Suyu's devil fruit ability belongs to the flame type. And his own devil fruit is lava, and lava has a certain restraint relationship to flames, even strictly speaking, it belongs to the relationship between superiors and subordinates. However, it is a pity that Suyu's flame is no longer an ordinary flame. Not only has it evolved, it has even been awakened. In terms of quality, it has long surpassed Akainu's lava fruit. Suddenly at this moment, there was a loud laughter from the smoke and dust. Ha 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 ha, I think you should be clear, my devil fruit somewhat restrained your devil fruit. Akainu sneered through the smoke. Suyu didn't take it too seriously, just smiled faintly. Oh. Really, you can see it again. You don't know if you try, even if your level of development is slightly higher than mine, but because of restraint, you still won't get any benefits. Akainu believes. Then try it, after Suyu said. This time, a blue flame burned directly all over his body. It disappeared immediately afterwards, so fast. The smile on Akainu's face disappeared instantly, and at this time, he also realized that Suyu had appeared in the sky behind him. With rich combat experience, he quickly turned around and immediately punched. Boom! The blue flame collided with the lava. In the next second, Akainu only felt a scorching sensation from his fist. His brows were slightly frowned, and he was directly bounced off by a force. After rolling a few laps on the ground, he quickly got up again. His first reaction saw that Suyu didn't jump forward, and the next second he looked at his fist. At this time, his fist was burned to a certain extent. Immediately afterwards, his brows suddenly frowned. How on earth did this guy do it? His fruit power actually caused me harm. Are you in a daze? Hearing Suyu's voice, Akainu was stunned and slowly raised his head. At this time, Suyu was floating in the void, his fingers holding a huge blue fireball. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Suyu didn't say much, and threw it down towards Akainu. With such a huge fireball, it is difficult to escape, and there are even many marines and pirates fighting around. This guy, are you crazy? Not only are all around marine, but also the people on your side. Akainu cursed, joking, he certainly doesn't care about the other cannon fodder marine. When the fireball fell, a huge explosion sounded again. The powerful impact caused the people fighting around to stop. Over there, Marine Admiral Akainu is in a duel with the flying guy. Flying guy, what's the matter? Wasn't he fighting the world's best swordsman just now? Could it be that the world's #1 swordsman lost? The world's #1 swordsman lost. That's impossible. That's the world's strongest swordsman, how could it be killed by a small character? That's probably due to other reasons. Marine Admiral Akainu took the shot. It is estimated that it won't be long before he can be taken down. The show is about to begin. Kizaru smiled faintly. Aokiji looked over and explained. The strength seems to be about the same as that of Sakazuki, and the fruit seems to be able to restrain him. It is too early to make a conclusion. You do not understand. Kizaru left Aokiji with a suspense. After all, he was too lazy to explain. Anyway, wait and play. Aokiji knew why he said that. Hey, don't look at you two for now. Sakazuki is fighting Suyu. You two quickly go to help. He can't handle it alone. Above, Sengoku shouted. Mr. Sengoku, don't be too anxious. Sakazuki, he told us not to interfere. You know, I don't want to cause trouble. Kizaru got up and explained to Sengoku. Aokiji on the side was surprised. Why didn't he hear Akainu saying that after sitting here all the time? However, a character like him is too lazy to say. That guy Sakazuki is crazy, who does he think he is? That guy is the pirate giant of the old days. Sengoku cursed. Seeing this scene, Kizaru smiled, and then continued to sit back in his position. I can't tell. Aokiji teased from the side. Kizaru also smiled at Aokiji. One more trouble is worse than one less trouble. As he said, he stood up, stretched his waist, and continued, I'll slip away first and find something to do by myself. It's better to wait for Mr. Sengoku to arrange it for me. When the words fell, Kizaru turned into a ray of light and fell on the battlefield. Of course, he deliberately fell on the other side of Suyu. Shiren's purpose was not to fight Suyu. Find flowers. As for Aokiji, he didn't take any action. He continued to sit in the position, quietly watching Akainu's movements. After a while, Akainu's heart collapsed. In any case, it is clear that his devil fruit should be his superior, but it is far less powerful than Suyu's. This point directly made him confused, and Suyu's continuous bombardment directly made him a little overwhelmed. Swish. Akainu kept dodge the small fireball shot by Suyu. Call. I saw him let out a soft breath and muttered, did you avoid it? Sometimes, that's it, what you are afraid of. Just after he muttered, there was a voice above his head. Not yet. As soon as the voice fell, Akainu hadn't reacted at all. Suyu directly pressed his head with one hand, and went down to the ground. Boom. For a while, the ground cracked directly, and his entire head sank into the ground. What? At this moment, Akainu was also angry, his whole body melted into lava, and a huge fist pushed Suyu back. ... 0. Originally Suyu still wanted to attack, but at this moment, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Ding dong, congratulations to host Yuhuo's running in as full. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for acquiring the first max ability and gaining 100,000 summon points. Host, please make persistent efforts, the more you increase the speed, the more rewards you will get. Suyu was slightly surprised when he heard the system prompts. Yes, he did not understand what was going on. But at this moment, Suyu clearly felt that warmth came from his body. He quickly opened his property panel. Host. Suyu. Summon. Aizen, 70%, Rem, 70%, Hashirama, 80%, Wuluki, 70%, Jiraiya, 70%, Tornado, 70%, Wang Yi, 65%, Denisha, 65%, Kongna, 65%, Uchiha Madara, 70%. Summoning character inheritance. Kido Aizen, Ghost Blood Race, Rem, Wood Style, Sage Mode Hashirama, Superpower 40%, Dragon Scroll, Eternal Mangekyo 861,000, Madara. Summoning value. 110,250,000. Bring your own ability. Evolution. Special ability. Purple Fire, Max Thor, 1036 2000 Armament Hockey Intermediate, 1999 2000 Observation Hockey, 1999 2000 Conquerors Hockey, 1258 2000. Warehouse. Awakening Card X1. Task. Summon 8 crew members, 10/12. At the moment when he saw his attribute panel, Suyu realized that it was Devil Fruit's ability that once again evolved a quality. However, what Suyu didn't expect was that when Yuhuo upgraded another quality, it would explode. Suyu was lucky, because at this moment, there happened to be another Akainu who could be used as a tester. It seems that the timing is very good this time. I don't plan to let go of such a rare test opportunity. Suyu said, the flame that had gone out on his body appeared again. It's just that this time, it's no longer blue, but purple flames. Strictly speaking, it is a lot more handsome than before. Chapter 214. After Akainu repelled Suyu, he slowly got up from the ground, and reached out his hand to wipe the blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. He looked at a few burned areas on his body again, and his eyes gradually became cold. Yes, this may be a big joke. A magma man who ate lava fruit was burned. Is there anything more funny than this? A-hole. Akainu gritted his teeth and cursed, smelling the scorching clothes. He pulled it open, and in the next second, his strong body appeared in everyone's field of vision. On the Whitebeard boat, there is no doubt that at this moment, whether it is Whitebeard or Marco, they are all watching Suyu's duel. It's too strong. It actually made Marine Admiral Akainu like this in a short time. Marco said in shock. At first, he didn't notice anything wrong when watching the duel between Suyu and Mihawk, but now it's just like changing someone. That guy at the daddy level, Joe's also said. That guy Suyu, but he hasn't tried his best yet. Whitebeard added. What, father, what you said is true. I didn't use my best effort to suppress Akainu, one of Marine's 3 highest powered admirals, into this shape. Such strength is too terrifying. Although I want to fight him too much, it's a pity, I'm already a man who has run out of oil, grumla lala. After speaking, Whitebeard burst into laughter. Marco and Joes looked at their father and wanted to say something, but swallowed back when they reached their mouths, and continued to cast their eyes back to the battlefield. Wait, Marco said suddenly. Whitebeard cast his gaze on Marco and asked suspiciously, what's the matter? Suyu, the color of the fire on Suyu's body has changed. As Marco's voice fell, Whitebeard and the other captains looked over. As Marco said, the color of the flame changed from blue to purple. This should have nothing to do with strength, maybe it's just a certain change in Devil Fruit's ability. Joes guessed. Yes, I think it's similar to what Joe said, the color change should be a normal thing. But Whitebeard frowned slightly, and then calmly said, not necessarily, I can feel it, that guy's aura is stronger than before. Tatata. Although the surrounding sounds are mixed, the heavy footsteps of Akainu can be heard clearly. In a short while, Suyu had already passed through the smoke and was reflected in his eyes. What did this guy do? Not only is his aura more terrifying than before, but the color of the flame has changed. Akainu muttered, staring at Suyu. Is this what you mean by suppression? I don't think it's necessarily. Suyu said lightly. Shoo. Suddenly at this moment, behind Suyu, a few bullets flew directly, but Suyu did not dodge. The moment the bullet hit Suyu, the bullet melted. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Suyu turned his head and looked at the marine who shot. The marine swallowed hard. Suyu's aura directly made him involuntarily back up a few steps. Suyu directly released Conqueror's Haki. The marine turned his eyes white on the spot and fell directly to the ground. Heaven dog. Just as Suyu turned his head, Akainu had seized the gap and jumped up directly, his fist turned into lava and hit Suyu's head. Suyu took a step back, her right hand was wrapped in purple flames, and she reached out to resist. Boom. The magma fist collided with the fist braving the purple flame, and a strong air current suddenly appeared around it. You devil fruit are just my subordinate. Drink. Akainu yelled savagely, and then concentrated all of his strength on his fist. At this moment, Suyu's feet kept rubbing against the ground, and the impact made him keep backing away. However, at this moment, Suyu's forehead quickly grew a pair of horns, and red eyeshadow appeared in his eyes. Crack. In an instant, Suyu stopped retreating directly. What? Akainu was taken aback, his eyes looked at Suyu incredulously. At this moment, the original fists collided, and Suyu directly in turn grabbed Akainu's magma fist. Drink. With a soft drink, Suyu's whole body burned. What? Accompanied by Akainu's wailing sound, his fist directly restored its original form, and, in the next second, it was directly in the ashes. The last blow. Akainu. As soon as the voice fell, Suyu jumped up and swept across. Snapped. Akainu flew upside down, then fell heavily to the ground. Aokiji, who was watching the game from the upper position, was directly stunned. Unexpectedly, Akainu was so embarrassed. At this moment, he deeply realized why Sengoku and the others value this man named Suyu so much. Hey, if you don't go over, Sakazuki will be killed, that guy is crazy, he said in the previous meeting. He can underestimate Whitebeard, but cannot underestimate Suyu. Sengoku cursed at the top. Had it not been for watching Ace on the side and preventing Whitebeard's people from coming to rescue, he would go down by himself. Aokiji stood up. I see. He regretted not being like the guy Kizaru now, and went to find something to do it himself. There is no other way, even if this is the case, he can only bite the bullet. At the same time, Suyu was there. At this moment, Akainu was lying on the ground. The battle just now caused him to lose an arm. His face is covered with blood now, his hands are full of blood, he staggered to stand up, and at this moment, Suyu has also come to him. It's over. Akainu. Suyu said coldly. On the other hand, Akainu looked at him stiffly. In fact, his head was already spinning at high speed, thinking about how to escape. However, just when Suyu was about to do it, he felt that three figures instantly surrounded him, and one of them grabbed Akainu at an extremely fast speed and threw it behind him. Yes, they are the survivors of 5 elders, the 3 old stars. They did it. Long time no see, captain of the Super Dimension pirate group, Suyu. One of the old men stared at Suyu and said lightly. Although we are old, I think you should still recognize us. The other said slowly. After so many years, your appearance is still the same as before. I think you should have found a way to live forever. Facing these 3.6 words they said, Suyu raised his mouth slightly, and then sneered. What? Are you in the world government no one? These are people who have half of their bodies in the coffin, and they have to come out. Fight. Even if we are old, but 3 to beat you 1, I think it is reluctant. An old man said lightly. As soon as the voice fell, Aokiji's figure fell down, and then said, no, strictly speaking, it is 4 to 1. Group fight. Suyu's mouth raised slightly, but he didn't panic. It's hard to say who can take advantage of this. However, seeing that the battle was about to start at a juncture, suddenly, Sengoku was holding the phone worm, and the voice of speaking rang through the battlefield. All scattered. A huge ship fell from the sky. Chapter 215. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Alas, this year's readers are difficult to bring. My update volume today is basically the day with the most words since the book was published. You still scold me. All scattered. A giant ship is about to fall from the sky. Sengoku almost yelled at the phone worm. The voice was so loud that it could ring the entire battlefield. Of course, the current situation is still broadcast live all over the world, so not only people on the battlefield can hear it, but even those who are watching the war on top. Because of Sengoku's voice, almost all the fighting stopped at the same time. Undoubtedly, they all raised their heads and cast their eyes on the huge ship. Sengoku said. Good. What a big ship. One of the Marines looked up at his head and swallowed his saliva. What the hell? Why the ship can fly? What the hell is going on? Is this our ship or the pirates? Because of the 12 below, they couldn't see whether it was a Marine's ship or a pirate's ship. Stop talking. Run quickly, or else the ship will just squash you down. Marine shouted not far away. As soon as these words came out, whether it was the pirate or Marine, they began to flee here, joking, whoever does not run will be crushed. Boom. With a loud noise, the huge ship landed on the ground. Following the huge smoke and dust began to rise slowly, directly shielding the ship. With a light breeze blowing, the black pirate flag was erected and fluttered in the wind. This is a pirate ship, but it's not our Whitebeard pirate group joining the pirate group. The sign of this pirate flag has never been seen before. Marco said first. We haven't seen it. It shouldn't be a powerful pirate group. After all, we basically recognize some of the more famous pirate groups that are mixed in the sea. Joe's also published his own on the side. View. The structure of this ship looks unusual. I'm afraid it's an incredible ship. Maybe it's the rookie pirate group. What about the newcomer? Do you directly participate in Malin Vander's war? This is to show that you are openly enemy of the world government. Tisk tusk tusk, are young people so arrogant nowadays? While they were still discussing, Whitebeard, who had not spoken, said aloud. You are wrong. They are not the rookie pirate group. This pirate flag is the pirate flag of our old age. As soon as Whitebeard said this, Marco and the others were stunned. Their reaction was quick, and they immediately guessed it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The pirate flag of the old age. Could it be, Daddy, this is Suyu's pirate ship? Marco asked. Whitebeard nodded, with a relieved expression leaking out of his face, seeing the pirate banner again. It seemed that he had gone back to the past. Suyu's pirate ship. Joe swallowed. His heart was a little excited, but he wanted to see that this strength was comparable to and even stronger than the Daddy's pirate team lineup. The other side. However, there is a saying that is good: some people are happy, others are worried. Happy, it is the pirate's side; worry, naturally it is Marine. The pirate flag of the super-dimensional pirate group. How could it be? Impossible. After so many years, how could they still come here for the captain of the year? Sengoku muttered, his face but his expression was very ugly, and sweat kept coming out. This directly stared at Ace on the side. For sure, he absolutely couldn't figure out who the ship was coming from, which caused a martial marine to panic so much. The face of this old man you recognize is really not so big. Suyu is here to help you. Sengoku said coldly to Ace. What are you talking about? Who is Suyu? Ace's face was puzzled. Of course, it was normal to not know, because no one had mentioned it to him. Sengoku glanced at him, but didn't answer. Under Sengoku, Garp and Crane's faces are also extremely ugly. Now, things are not good. Garp nodded to the side. This is indeed the case. It is estimated that no one in the entire world government would have thought that it would be such a result. He sighed heavily. I hope only 1 or 2 will come, but don't get all the members. If all the members are all, the result of this battle will basically come out. Quote. Garp nodded lightly. Now he is also a bit anxious. In his eyes, Suyu can rescue Ace 100%. Now that the entire Super Dimension pirates can rescue Ace, they can save Ace on a whim. May chase you to the Holy Land, Mary Geois. Ta-ta-ta. The crisp sound of footsteps rang in the smoke and dust. Immediately afterwards, a group of people passed through the smoke. Their appearance appeared in the eyes of everyone, and in the eyes of people watching live broadcasts all over the world. Question mark 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 The leader of the 4.8 billion World Blade Organization, Aizen. A member of the Super Dimension Pirates with a reward of 3.3 billion, Hashirama. A member of the Super Dimension Pirates with a reward of 3 billion, Madara. A member of the Super Dimension Pirates who was offering a reward of 2 billion, Denisha, Tornado. 691.8 billion Jiraiya, Wuluchichi, 1.5 billion Wangya, 500 million Ram, 500 million Ram, and 300 million Kana. When listening to Crane's words, Garp's face became more and more ugly, and he really responded to the words, what to be afraid of. The matter is serious, all members of the Super Dimension Pirate Group are here. Crane said softly. And Suyu couldn't be said to be excited, but he felt a little sudden in his heart. After all, he didn't expect that these guys would come by themselves. However, all in all, this is a good thing, because when the time comes, I will find them myself. A force of pressure came directly towards Suyu, and after that, the cannon fodder marine soldiers and some pirates fell to the ground almost instantly. Yes, this is Conqueror's Haki released by Aizen. Immediately afterwards, Aizen and his group began to slowly approach Suyu. I don't think it's a 4-on-1. Suyu suddenly said to the three old stars in Aokiji. Welcome back, Captain.